Chapter 1442. The ancient Chilean demon had kept Jiu Fei into his inner world, thinking that he could easily kill Jiu Fei. However, who knew that Jiu Fei would release an even stronger force of his inner world? How is this possible? The ancient Chilean demon was shocked to the extreme. The heaven and earth power that was released from Jiu Fei's chest meridian was spreading. The void around Jiu Fei had already formed a world of its own. The laws of heaven and earth were all under his control. The ancient Chilean demon's ancient demon territory could no longer affect Jiu Fei. Moreover, the heaven and earth power from Jiu Fei's body continued to spread. It actually showed signs of bursting the ancient Chilean demon's inner world. This made the ancient Chilean demon feel great danger. One had to know that the inner world was closely related to one's body. It was connected to one's essence, spirit, and spirit. Once the inner world was destroyed, one would also suffer a destructive blow. If it was light, one's physical body would collapse, leaving only one's essence spirit to escape. If it was heavy, one's body and spirit would be destroyed. However, no matter which one it was, the ancient Chilean demon would only be defeated if his inner world was destroyed. Jiu Fei would definitely not be merciful. Roar. The ancient Chilean demon's body emitted endless demonic light. The entire inner world was boiling. Heaven and earth power surged towards Jiu Fei, trying to suppress the vast heaven and earth power that was released from Jiu Fei's body. This was a battle between inner worlds. However, the ancient Chilean demon's expression changed very quickly. He realized that the heaven and earth power that was released from Jiu Fei's body was vast, powerful, and impossible to resist. It was like a perfect world. The laws and order of heaven and earth had already evolved. It had the aura of heaven and earth. It was comparable to a real heaven and earth. This level of heaven and earth power was definitely not something that the ancient Chilean demon's inner world could resist. The ancient Chilean demon's inner world could not be compared to a near-perfect heaven and earth. At this moment, Jiu Fei stood in the void like a supreme deity. Around him were birds, beasts, insects, fishes, flowers, trees, and even mountains and rivers. This was the reflection of a large world appearing in the void around him. He activated the power of the Hell Tao to resist the ancient Chilean's inner world. The Hell Tao was an almost perfect world created by the ancient Buddhist Lord when he was refining the 6 paths of reincarnation. Jiu Fei had refined the Hell Path's heaven and earth source, so he could draw upon the Hell Path's heaven and earth energy. Rumble. The space around the ancient Chilean demon was shaking violently. Terrifying spatial cracks appeared in the void and the sky seemed to be collapsing. Chaotic chi seeped out from the crack in space. The Chilean ancient demon coughed out a huge mouthful of blood. His inner world was on the verge of collapsing, causing him to suffer a great impact. The inner world of the ancient Chilean demon was like a bubble that swelled up and could explode at any moment with a pop. If you surrender, you will live. If you don't surrender, you will die. Jiu Fei stood in the void. The heaven and earth around him were constantly being destroyed. It was as though he was creating a new world and a large world was about to appear from the void. His eyes were as sharp as a divine weapon. He looked at the ancient Chilean demon, whose body was already covered with terrifying bloody wounds. His face was calm and emotionless. "You want me to submit to you? Dream on." The ancient Chilean demon was a great demon that had lived since ancient times. He had earth-shattering mystiques and the pride of an ancient demon. Wanting him to submit to a human was more unbearable than killing him. If that's the case, as soon as Jiu Fei raised his hand, the inner heaven and earth energy surging out of his body instantly doubled. Boom! With a loud sound, the sky fell and the earth cracked. The ancient Chilean demon's inner world, which was already on the verge of collapse, immediately exploded. The ancient Chilean demon was the first to bear the brunt of the collapse of his inner world. At the moment his physical body collapsed, he turned into a bloody mist. A ball of demonic light wrapped around a small figure broke through the chaos and rushed out. That was the essence spirit of the ancient Chilean demon. Although his physical body was destroyed, his essence spirit survived and broke through the chaos to escape. Humph! Jiu Fei protected himself with the inner world energy as he traversed through the chaos. He had already locked on to the essence spirit of the ancient Chilean demon. He broke through the chaos and chased after it. The destructive power formed by the collapse of his inner world was absolutely unimaginable. It could turn a part of the void into an extremely chaotic place without any order. If it was an ordinary expert or even a half-saint, he or she would have been killed by this chaotic energy. However, Jiyu Fei was protected by the energy of the world and was untouchable. Therefore, this kind of energy could not affect him in the slightest. All the chaotic power that surged towards Jiyu Fei was dissolved by the heaven and earth energy from the Hell Dao. It could not get close to him. Boom! Jiyu Fei broke through the chaos like a peerless god of war. He killed his way back into the untainted world, shocking all the demons. At this time, a purple demonic light flashed at the end of the horizon and disappeared. Damn it! Jiyu Fei knew that he could not catch up with the essence spirit of the ancient Chilean demon even if he had the extreme speed of 8 steps. He looked at the demons in the distance with his sharp eyes. Under the gaze of Jiyu Fei, all the demons broke out in a cold sweat. This was definitely a killer. Even the ancient Chilean demon was not his match. Unless the demon lord returned, no one in the entire wilderness demon clan would be a match for this human mighty figure. Jiyu Fei intimidated the demons, but he did not attack them. However, the demons were trembling with fear. They were afraid that Jiyu Fei would attack them. Boom! At that moment, a loud sound rang out from afar. The entire world shook violently as a terrifying energy ripple spread out, causing the earth to undulate violently like waves. Hey Tian, Jiyu Fei abruptly looked in the direction of the voice and instantly disappeared from the spot. The battle between He Tian and the 4 demons finally came to an end. The 2 saint-tier powers exploded and destroyed the heaven and earth. Even the sky was pierced through. The area within a radius of thousands of miles was destroyed. The 4 ancient diagrams were blown away. Among the 4 great demons, 3 of them were turned into blood mist on the spot. Although one of them didn't die on the spot, he suffered an unimaginably heavy injury and was on the verge of death. As for He Tian, it was unknown whether he was dead or alive. Swoosh! Jiyu Fei appeared in the void. Seeing this scene, he could not help but be shocked. Could He Tian be dead? If something happened to He Tian, the entire wilderness demon clan would be buried with him. A heaven-shaking killing intent gushed out from Jiyu Fei's body. Sensing Jiyu Fei's killing intent, the great demons in the distance felt a chill run down their spines. They quickly retreated, not daring to stay any longer. Target =_blank. Chapter 1443. A region turned into primal chaos. This was definitely an incomparably shocking scene. It was as if a region of primal chaos was evolving, chaotic to the extreme. This was the result of a battle between saints. Saints possessed terrifying power that could destroy the world with every move they made. They stood at the peak of life and overlooked the world. He Tian and the 4 great demons clashed head-on. Among the 4 great demons, 3 great demon clan experts were instantly blasted into a mist of blood by the mighty and terrifying fluctuations. Only one survived. However, the surviving demon was heavily injured and on the verge of death. Even if he didn't die in the end, he probably wouldn't be able to recover to his peak state. Jiyu Fei didn't show any mercy. He directly attacked and slammed his palm at the dying demon. The demon only managed to let out half a shriek before turning into a mist of blood under Jiyu Fei's palm. Both his body and soul were destroyed. Afterwards, he extended his hand and grabbed the 4 floating ancient diagrams. This was a relic refined by an ancient demon saint of the demon clan. The 4 diagrams flowed with the aura of the Great Path. Ancient demonic inscriptions could be vaguely seen. They contained terrifying power and were even more extraordinary than regular saint weapons. Xiaoqing cultivated the demon Dao. This relic was perfect for him to use. However, the 4 diagrams in his hand trembled as if they were about to soar into the sky and escape at any time. Seeing this, he directly stored the diagrams into the cauldron of mountains and rivers. The cauldron of mountains and rivers was an extreme saint weapon. It could suppress all saint weapons below that level. Rumble, at this moment, the chaotic region began to shrink. The laws of the world began to repair the damaged space. Buzz. The cauldron of mountains and rivers trembled before floating above Gu Fei's head. Strands of primordial chaos chi poured down, protecting Gu Fei. Afterwards, Gu Fei walked into the chaotic space before him. The primordial chaos chi around Gu Fei couldn't approach him at all. They were all repelled by the primordial chaos chi from the cauldron, allowing him to walk freely in the chaotic space. There was nothing in the chaotic space. There was only chaotic energy that could tear apart almighties. Even a half-saint wouldn't dare to enter such a place. Hei Tian, Gu Fei couldn't help but worry for Hei Tian. Even an almighty would die in such a chaotic space. Could that guy be dead already? Mahakala's origins were mysterious, and he definitely had many secrets on him. It was hard to say if he had a way to protect himself. Gu Fei noticed that it was difficult for his divine sense to spread out in the chaotic lands. In this way, it would be extremely difficult for him to find Erebus, and he couldn't help but frown. As Gu Fei walked in the chaotic space was gradually being repaired and shrunk. This wasn't a good sign. If he didn't leave the land of chaos before it was restored, he might be trapped in the land of chaos for the rest of his life. Even if Hei Tian didn't die, he would be forced into the depths of the chaotic space. Just as Gu Fei was at his wit's end, a powerful ripple suddenly emerged from the depths of the primal chaos, penetrating through the layers of primal chaos, causing Gu Fei's mind to shake. This was a saint-tier ripple. With the cauldron of mountains and rivers on his head, Gu Fei charged towards the ripple. Soon, he found a ball of divine light in the chaotic space. Outside the ball of divine light, there was an almost transparent divine sword hovering. Saint-tier sword chi ripples were emitted from the almost transparent sword shadow, blocking all the chaotic energy in the surroundings. Seeing this scene, Gu Fei couldn't help but be surprised and overjoyed. Hei Tian was still alive. The ball of divine light that was protected by the invisible divine sword was Hei Tian's star bead. In the star bead, there was a tiny figure sitting cross-legged. It was Hei Tian's spirit. Boss, Hei Tian's spirit in the star bead also sensed Gu Fei's arrival. Being rescued from a desperate situation, Hei Tian's spirit almost rushed out of the star bead. Hei Tian's spirit was extremely excited. He actually destroyed his physical body. Seeing Hei Tian in such a state, Gu Fei was a little surprised. He knew that Hei Tian's physical body was very strong, much stronger than the average almighty. But now, he was only left with a spirit. It was hard to imagine what kind of impact Hei Tian had suffered at that time. If it wasn't for the protection of the invisible divine sword and the star bead, his body and spirit would definitely have been destroyed. Gu Fei didn't say much. He directly put the invisible divine sword and the star bead into the mountain river cauldron. Then, he quickly rushed towards the outside world. At this time, in the untainted world, the chaotic void was rapidly shrinking, and the broken world was quickly repaired by the power of the world. The untainted world's law of heaven and earth was the closest to the ancient untainted world. The untainted world's law of heaven and earth was very stable, and the broken void would soon be completely repaired. Gu Fei flew in the chaos with all his strength, breaking through layers of chaos, and rushed in the direction of the untainted world's aura. That person can't come out. Does he think he's a sage? He actually dared to enter the chaotic void. It's best if he dies in there. In this way, our race will have one less great enemy. In the distance, there were figures of the demon clan moving. Some great demons retreated and then returned stealthily. They knew that Gu Fei had entered the chaos, and they couldn't wait for Gu Fei to not come out. At this time, the entire broken chaos was only a few hundred feet wide, and the chaotic void was rapidly shrinking. However, just as the chaotic void was about to be completely repaired by the untainted world's law of heaven and earth, a terrifying and powerful wave suddenly rushed out of the chaos. As soon as the great demons sensed the aura, their expressions changed drastically, and they immediately turned to flee. The great demons actually didn't die in there, which made them panic. Boom! Just as the chaotic void was about to be completely repaired, there was a loud sound, and the repaired chaotic void suddenly collapsed again. A chaotic void that was a few hundred feet wide appeared again. Violent power swept out in all directions, and the nearby world shook again. In the void, more than a dozen spatial cracks that were thousands of feet long appeared, and the chaotic aura seeped out of these spatial cracks. With the mountain and river cauldron on top of Jiyu Fei's head, like an invincible god of war, he broke through the void and rushed out of the chaos. Roar! He roared angrily at the sky, and the whole world shook with his roar. A domineering aura emitted from his body, and his eyes swept across the surroundings like a peerless divine weapon. Demon Clan. Finally, Jiyu Fei looked in the direction of the untainted world's demon clan's lair. There was a vast aura coming from there, as if a terrifying primordial true dragon was hiding there. Target =_blank. Chapter 1444. The lair of the desolate demon race was located in a place called the Chaos Dragon Cave. It was a place that was blessed by the heavens and earth. Legend had it that it had existed since the desolate world and was the cultivation ground of a desolate true dragon. The desolate true dragon was as powerful as an extreme Tao supremacy. It was the strongest existence in the world and was regarded as a supreme demon sovereign by later generations. How could the cultivation ground of such an existence be ordinary? The news that Jiyu Fei was not lost in the chaos spread quickly. Afraid of Jiyu Fei's revenge, all the demons of the desolate demon race gathered in the Chaos Dragon Cave. The entire demon race was extremely nervous, as if they were facing a great enemy. One had to know that even the Chilean ancient demon race ended up with only a strand of his primordial spirit escaping, let alone the others. In the entire desolate demon race, perhaps only the desolate demon lord could fight against Jiyu Fei. Jiyu Fei's consecutive battles shook the entire desolate world. Whether it was killing the savage beast king or defeating the ancient demon lord, he had displayed his invincible style. Such an achievement made the few humans in the desolate world heave a sigh of relief. For countless years, the human race in the desolate world had been oppressed by the other major races. If it weren't for the fact that the major races were wary of the ancient Buddha Lord, the human race in the desolate world would have long been annihilated by the other major races. That guy is actually so powerful. In a valley filled with yin energy, a figure walked out. The figure's body glowed with Buddhist light that blocked the surrounding yin energy. It was a monk. This monk was Heavenly Monk Dharma. Heavenly Monk Dharma and Jiyu Fei fought in the ancient Buddha Lord's second Buddhist palace. They broke through the passage to the desolate world and entered the desolate world together. The Buddhist disciples of the Heavenly Buddha sect more or less knew the use of the 9 Buddhist palaces refined by the ancient Buddha Lord. However, the third Buddhist palace contained many great secrets. It was a desolate world. Legend had it that during the desolate era, the ancient Buddha Lord had cut off a piece of the real desolate world and refined it. Perhaps only an extreme supreme being would be capable of such a move. Soon, a black shadow appeared in the valley. It was a shadow surrounded by yin energy. It was like a ghost. The figure that was emitting a sinister aura circled around the valley and stood at the spot where Heavenly Monk Fa Li had stood before. Buddhism. This mysterious figure emitted such spiritual fluctuations. The illusory figure was like a light smoke that could dissipate at any time. Then, the mysterious figure also disappeared from the valley, without a trace. At this moment, Jiyu Fei had arrived at a valley far away from the lair of the desolate demon clan. He then released Hei Tian from the mountain and river cauldron. The invisible sword was put away by Jiyu Fei. A ball of light wrapped around Hei Tian's primordial spirit and floated in front of Jiyu Fei. The power of stars spread out from the ball of light. Numerous cracks appeared on the star bead. It seemed like it could collapse at any time. The power emitted by the four-sided ancient map was too strong. It was imprinted with the great path divine law of the ancient demon saint and could display the power of the ancient demon saint. The star bead was merely a divine weapon of an almighty being. Although it was also branded with Tao patterns, it could not be compared to the four-sided ancient diagram. The reason why Erebus was able to survive was because of the invisible divine sword. The invisible sword was a divine weapon. It was not inferior to the four-sided ancient map. Boss, Hei Tian sat cross-legged in the star bead. The power of his primordial spirit was very weak. Not only was his physical body destroyed, but his primordial spirit had also been affected. It was difficult for him to recover in a short time. Ji Yufei did not say anything. He directly opened the inner world and walked in with He Tian. This was a divine land. After Ji Yufei obtained it, it became more and more lively. The concentration of spiritual qi here was comparable to any grotto heaven in the world. With the nourishment of the divine spring of life here, there was unlimited potential for growth. Ji Yufei came to the largest divine spring of life in the depths of the inner world. There was an immortal herb rooted there. It was a herb shaped like a real dragon. Ji Yufei came here to ask the immortal ancestral herb for a drop of immortal liquid. The immortal ancestral herb had lived for countless years. Although it did not have any great magical powers, it had a mind of its own. When Ji Yufei told it his purpose, the immortal herb refused at first, but in the end, it spat out a drop of purple liquid. A drop of violet divine liquid flew towards Ji Yufei and gave off a powerful aura of life. This was a peerless divine medicine that could bring people back to the brink of death. The immortal ancestral herb was rooted in Ji Yufei's inner world. Since Ji Yufei had a request, the immortal ancestral herb could not refuse. When He Tian saw that Ji Yufei had asked the ancestral dragon immortal herb for a drop of immortal divine elixir, he couldn't help feeling excited. With this drop of immortal divine elixir, he would definitely be able to reconstruct his physical body. Ji Yufei left this place and chose a mouthful of divine spring of life. Then, he started to reconstruct Mai Tian's body. The star bead floated above the divine spring of life like a star. Endless life essence began to gather towards the star bead. The process of reconstructing a body was extremely slow and the amount of life essence consumed was also tremendous. However, during this process, He Tian obtained great benefits. Under the endless life essence, He Tian's yuan spirit gradually grew stronger. It was even stronger than before he was injured. It could be said that He Tian had profited from this disaster. In the end, the star bead still shattered. He Tian's yuan spirit began to enter the depths of the divine spring of life. With the boundless life essence and the drop of immortal ancestral dragon elixir, Erebus's reconstructed body would probably be even stronger than his previous body. After all this was done, Ji Yufei left his inner world. He Tian's reconstructed body couldn't be completed in a short time. It required time. This wasn't an ordinary rebirth of flesh and blood. In the Chaos Dragon Cave, a group of great demons was nervously on guard. There were even figures of incomparably powerful ancient demons walking around. There wasn't just one Chilean ancient demon in the desolate demon race. On this day, the great demons in the Chaos Dragon Cave discovered a suspicious figure in the nearby area. A great demon found a demon race's corpse. Is it finally here? A figure sitting in the chaotic dragon cave opened his eyes, from which a cyan divine light shot out, several feet long. An extremely powerful aura emanated from this figure, causing all the demons in the Chaos Dragon Cave to tremble in fear. This was an ancient demon that had lived for countless years. Even the Chilean ancient demon was a descendant of this ancient demon. It was hard to imagine how powerful such an existence was. There's such an existence in the demon race? On a mountain peak 3,000 miles away from the Chaos Dragon Cave, a figure looked in the direction of the Chaos Dragon Cave and muttered to himself. His eyes emitted a dazzling divine light. Target =_blank. Chapter 1445. In the area where the Chaos Dragon Cave was located, there was a Tao power lingering around. This was the power of the chaotic true dragon from ancient times. Although countless years had passed, this power still did not dissipate. The power of the extreme Tao Supremes could suppress all great Taos and disturb a part of the world. Wherever the Supremes were, all great Taos would be trampled under their feet. In this world, only the Tao of the Supremes could be tolerated. The influence of the extreme Tao True Dragon on this part of the world still existed and could not be erased. In the past few days, Ji Yufei had been roaming around the area near the Chaos Dragon Cave. This area was definitely a rare place in the world. It was filled with endless mysteries and was created by heaven and earth. Although Ji Yufei's formation cultivation was not as good as He Tian's, He also knew how to observe the general situation of the world and the layout of the mountains and lakes. It was because he could see the power of this place that he did not dare to make a move. This place did not seem to be inferior to the extreme Dao Beast Imperial Palace at the peak of the holy mountain of the savage beast. Jiyu Fei did not enter the extreme Dao Beast Palace at the peak of the royal mountain, so he did not know what was inside. But now, when he came to the Chaos Dragon Cave, he felt a heart-palpitating aura. For several days, Jiyu Fei captured more than a dozen experts of the demon race and then used the God-seizing secret technique to search their sea of consciousness. From these experts' sea of consciousness, Jiyu Fei found out what he wanted to know. Apart from a few great demons who resisted with all their might, Jiyu Fei did not kill the other experts of the demon race. A dragon lair that once had a chaotic true dragon? Jiyu Fei stood on a mountain peak 3,000 miles away from the Chaos Dragon Cave. Under the moonlight, the place was filled with rising dragon chi, and one could vaguely see the shadow of a dragon. He found that if he carefully sensed, there would be a torrential aura surging towards him. This aura was powerful enough to crush him. It was invincible. The cauldron of mountain and river vibrated within Jiyu Fei's body, helping Jiyu Fei to dissolve the unstoppable and terrifying aura. Only then did Jiyu Fei not suffer much of an impact. However, this invincible aura caused Jiyu Fei's face to turn pale, and his Dao heart was almost shaken. Extreme Dao True Dragon. The Grand Emperor was not the only Extreme Dao True Dragon in the world, just like the Supreme Dao Ancestor and the Buddhist Lord were not the only Extreme Dao Supremes in the human race. The aura that Jiyu Fei sensed did not belong to the Tai Sovereign. He was very familiar with the Tai Sovereign's aura because Old Tortoise had the Tai Sovereign seal. This savage world was not simple. The Emperor Mountain of the Savage Beasts had once produced an Extreme Dao Beast Emperor, and the Chaos Dragon Cave of the Demon Race was once the cultivation ground of an Extreme Dao True Dragon. Could it be a coincidence? Jiyu Fei vaguely felt that there might be some connection between them. Otherwise, how could there be two places that had produced Extreme Path Supreme Masters appearing in this world at the same time? Moreover, the distance between the two places was not that far. However, this was not the time for Jiyu Fei to pursue this matter. His top priority now was to obtain the corner of the Extreme Dao Array in the hands of the savage beasts. From the sea of consciousness of the other demon race experts, Jiyu Fei knew that the corner of the Extreme Dao Array was carved on a piece of dragon scale. It was a piece of dragon scale that had fallen off the body of an Extreme Dao True Dragon. This piece of dragon scale was extraordinary. It was a piece of armor that had fallen off the body of an Extreme Dao True Dragon. This piece of scale was an immortal material that floated in the depths of the Chaos Dragon Cave. Even the ancient demons could not get close to that place. The dragon scale had a trace of the aura of an Extreme Dao True Dragon attached to it. Even the powerful demon lord of the savage beasts could not withstand that aura, let alone the other greater demons. The depths of the Chaos Dragon Cave was a forbidden area for the savage beasts. How can I enter the depths of the Chaos Dragon Cave? Jiyu Fei muttered to himself. This was a difficult task, unless he could get past the greater demons of the savage beasts. Swoosh! Just as Jiyu Fei was pondering, a huge bird suddenly rushed out of the Chaos Dragon Cave. It was a beast shaped like a great peng. Its wings were spread wide like the clouds in the sky. An extremely powerful wave of demonic energy rippled out from the body of the great peng, shaking the heavens and earth. Even Jiyu Fei couldn't help but be secretly shocked. This greater demon has discovered me even though I'm 3,000 miles away from the Chaos Dragon Cave. Jiyu Fei stared at the huge bird flying towards him. His eyes flashed with an incomparably sharp light. With just a flap of its wings, the huge bird instantly flew above Jiyu Fei. The entire sky suddenly darkened. Two golden claws swiped towards Jiyu Fei. The claws were pulsing with divine light. As long as he was caught by these claws, he would be torn to shreds. The ancient Peng demon has made his move. Such power has probably surpassed the almighty realm. The ancient Peng demon is a half-sage. Someone whispered. Some recognized the identity of the ancient Peng demon. They were all extremely shocked. How could a person that had disappeared appear again? Against the ancient Peng demon's attack, Ji Yufei only took one step and dodged it. He then ascended into the sky and used the 8 steps 8 kills, stomping down on the ancient Peng below. Boom! An extremely powerful ripple spread out from beneath Ji Yufei's feet. The entire world seemed to be collapsing, and even the primal chaos energy was being blasted out. Swoosh! The ancient Peng flapped its wings and instantly rushed out. Its speed was comparable to Ji Yufei's 8 desolation steps. The ancient Peng demon dodged Ji Yufei's 8 kill steps. There was no need for the two experts to say anything. Two figures moved quickly in the void, to the extent that their flesh was almost invisible. Bam! Ji Yufei and the ancient Peng demon clashed head-on. Both experts were sent flying back. Violent energy spread out and the void was silently turned into chaos. What? The battle between Ji Yufei and Tian Peng had startled quite a number of people. Even some powerful savage beasts were alerted and watched the battle from afar. Seeing that Ji Yufei could fight the ancient Peng demon with his bare hands, all the experts of the demon race were shocked. This human cultivator was too strong. The ancient Peng demon was a great demon second only to the demon lord of the wildlands. His strength and cultivation were so high that the other demon race experts couldn't compare to him. Even the ancient Chilean demon race was ranked below the ancient Peng demon in the wildlands. Rumble! The ancient Peng spread its wings and a terrifying power erupted. The entire heaven and earth shook. The two wings were like two heavenly blades, cutting through the void and sending Ji Yufei flying. Ji Yufei was taken aback. The opponent was so strong that even he felt threatened. The ancient Peng demon's battle strength was much stronger than the ancient Chilean demon. This was a good opponent. Ji Yufei's battle intent surged. He rushed back from afar again. His martial path true force was released and rays of divine light lingered around his body. Target =_blank. Chapter 1446. The ancient Fei Tian Peng was incomparably powerful. He sent Ji Yufei flying the moment they exchanged blows. He flapped his wings, stirring up gusts of strong winds that sent sand and pebbles flying. Roar! Ji Yufei roared angrily. He was like a god of war as he charged back from afar. He extended his hand and sent a palm strike at the ancient Fei Tian Peng in the sky. The palm force of extreme yang shook the heaven and earth. Even the ancient Fei Tian Peng's expression changed. Boom! Ji Yufei's palm force collided with the ancient Fei Tian Peng's wings. This time, the ancient Fei Tian Peng failed to send Ji Yufei flying. The mountain-like Great Peng was shaken by Ji Yufei's palm strike. Swish! The Great Peng rapidly shrank and turned into an eagle-headed human. He stood in the void with a murderous aura and vast demonic power. Were you the one who destroyed the Chilean's physical body? The ancient Fei Tian Peng stared at Ji Yufei with a murderous glint in his eyes. The Chilean ancient Fei's physical body was destroyed and only his essence spirit managed to escape. This shocked him greatly. There were only two ancient Fei in the entire desolate demon race, the ancient Chilean demon and the ancient Fei Tian Peng ancient Fei. The ancient Fei Tian Peng knew the strength of the ancient Fei Tian Peng. He found it hard to imagine that a human mighty figure could defeat the ancient Fei Tian Peng. However, from the looks of it, this human mighty figure was indeed not simple. So what if it was me? Ji Yufei said indifferently. Although the other party was extremely powerful, he was not afraid. The stronger the other party was, the more excited he was. He would use the other party as a whetstone to temper his martial body. Very well. An incomparably powerful aura burst forth from the heavenly Peng ancient demon's body. After that, he disappeared from where he was. In the next moment, he appeared in front of Ji Yufei and a pair of sharp claws were aimed at Ji Yufei's head. Swish! An afterimage of Ji Yufei was torn apart by the ancient Fei Tian Peng's sharp claws. His real body used the void steps and retreated 100 kilometers in a single step. Where do you think you're going? The ancient Fei Tian Peng bellowed and also left an afterimage on the spot. His real body instantly traversed a distance of 50 kilometers and chased after Ji Yufei. Run! Ridiculous! Hearing this, Ji Yufei couldn't help but be a bit annoyed. A powerful energy erupted from his body. Yin and yang energy wove together and a yin-yang Dao diagram appeared from his body. The heavenly Peng ancient demon immediately stopped when he saw this. Buzz! The yin-yang Dao diagram trembled, emitting a wisp of Dao charm. Ji Yufei's right fist and left fist respectively turned into the extreme yang and extreme yin of the yin-yang Dao diagram. Boom! Heaven and earth shook as he struck out with the yin-yang reincarnation fist. Heavenly Peng ancient Fei was shocked. This was a manifestation of the great Dao. The power of the great Dao had turned into a tangible mark. This was a trace of the Dao. Such an attack was more terrifying than any other attack. The ancient demon sensed danger. He never thought that Yi Futian would be able to cultivate such a great technique and attract the power of the great Dao. This caused his expression to turn incomparably grim. Roar! Heavenly Peng ancient Fei roared angrily. Under the pressure of Ji Yufei's yin-yang fist, a huge shadow of a heavenly Peng emerged from his body. A monstrous murderous aura spread out. This was a mystic art of the heavenly Peng lineage. It stimulated the power of the progenitor's bloodline and attracted the power of the progenitor, allowing one's combat power to soar to a level that could be said to be invincible among those of the same level. Heavenly Peng ancient Fei fused with the shadow of the heavenly Peng that emerged from his body. Then, he flapped his wings and thousands of feathers flew up. They turned into thousands of chaotic divine lights and pierced towards Ji Yufei. Each ray of chaotic divine light pierced through the void and destroyed the void, displaying a terrifying power. However, such a terrifying attack was easily resolved by the yin-yang Dao diagram. The power of yin and yang interwove. The yin and yang energy wove together. The yin-yang reincarnation fist that Ji Yufei struck out had attracted the power of the great Dao and evolved a kind of profound meaning of heaven and earth. The mighty fist force from the yin-yang Dao diagram broke through the thousands of chaotic divine lights and hit the shadow of the heavenly Peng that was as huge as a mountain. Bam! The yin-yang fist force seemed to have hit a tangible object as the huge shadow of the heavenly Peng was sent flying. How is this possible? Heavenly Peng ancient Fei spat out a mouthful of blood as he was sent flying thousands of feet away. He was on the verge of going berserk. His opponent's cultivation level was not as high as his and his strength was not as strong as his, but he was still injured. This made Heavenly Peng ancient Fei both shocked and furious. It's impossible for you to defeat me in this place. Heavenly Peng ancient Fei roared angrily. His body emitted demonic light as ancient demonic runes appeared on his body. Then, the yuan qi of the entire heaven and earth changed rapidly. Beams of demonic light rushed over from the direction of the Chaos Dragon Cave. Every beam of demonic light was in the shape of a dragon and emitted an aura that made one's heart palpitate. Ji Yufei was taken aback. This ancient Fei had actually attracted the power of heaven and earth to his body. As the dragon-shaped demonic light entered his body, Heavenly Peng ancient Fei's body actually emitted waves of dragon qi. Within the Chaos Dragon Cave, there was the aura of the extreme Dao True Dragon that could not be erased by the passage of time. This region was also affected. In this region, the remnant Dao charm of the extreme Dao True Dragon suppressed everything. Heavenly Peng ancient Fei had cultivated in the Chaos Dragon Cave for countless years. Naturally, he knew how to attract the power of heaven and earth to attack his opponent. This was the remnant power of the extreme Dao True Dragon that was triggered by Heavenly Peng ancient Fei. I'm going to shatter your great Dao divine form. Heavenly Peng ancient Fei roared. He turned into a huge dragon and charged at Ji Yufei. Bam! The yin-yang Dao diagram shook and was sent flying by the charging dragon. The extreme Dao True Dragon's great Dao suppressed everything, causing Ji Yufei's yin-yang Dao diagram to be unable to circulate smoothly. Rumble! At this moment, dragon qi gushed out from the Chaos Dragon Cave. An even more terrifying power was awakening. This was the power of the extreme Dao True Dragon. Preposterous! Upon seeing this, Ji Yufei did not hesitate and immediately retreated. He turned into a beam of divine light, broke through the sky and rushed into the distance. He wanted to rush out of this region. The other party was using the power of the extreme Dao True Dragon to suppress him. This made Ji Yufei shocked and angry. This kind of power could not be resisted. If he did not retreat, his life would be in danger. Heavenly Peng Ancient Fei chased him for thousands of miles before turning back. This was because beyond this range, he would not be able to borrow the power of the extreme Tao True Dragon. Jiyu Fei used the void step and soon disappeared into the horizon. I didn't expect there to be such an existence in the demon race. Jiyu Fei stopped in a valley that looked like a paradise. He stood under a plum tree. He knew that the ancient Fei had not used his true strength yet. The great Tao of the extreme Tao True Dragon reigned supreme in this region. It suppressed other Tao powers. In such a place, Jiyu Fei's combat strength was affected. It was difficult for him to fully display the yin-yang reincarnation fist. This was only Jiyu Fei's first test. A storm was coming. To see the first advertisement, please go to. Please share. Target =_blank. Chapter 1447. Neither Jiyu Fei nor Tian Peng had used their full strength. Both were testing each other. Jiyu Fei was the last to retreat. He had not been defeated. This Chaos Dragon Cave was more terrifying than he had imagined. The great Tao of the extreme Tao True Dragon still had a great influence on this region. This was not a good thing for Jiyu Fei. Tian Peng could activate the great Tao power within a radius of 10,000 miles to suppress Jiyu Fei. This was the power of the extreme Tao True Dragon. The Tao energy of the extreme Tao True Dragon disturbed the power of heaven and earth in an area. Under the envelopment of the extreme Tao True Dragon's Tao energy, only the Tao of the extreme Tao True Dragon was respected, suppressing all other Tao energy. The heavenly Peng Ancient Demon was already invincible within the Chaos Dragon Cave. Given Jiyu Fei's current cultivation and strength, it was difficult to contend with such power, unless he used the mountain and river cauldron or an extreme Tao sacred weapon like the purple gold divine sword. Tian Peng returned to the Chaos Dragon Cave. With such an ancient demon guarding it, it would not be easy for Jiyu Fei to obtain the dragon scale with the extreme Tao array pattern. However, Jiyu Fei was determined to obtain the dragon scale. The legendary gate of reincarnation from the mythological era was also very attractive to Jiyu Fei. If the legend was true, then the value of the gate of reincarnation was definitely comparable to an extreme Tao sacred weapon. Jiyu Fei did not want to miss out on such an item. The night in the untainted world was still filled with killing intent. In the silence, one or two beast roars could be heard from time to time. Countless creatures that lurked during the day had begun to move. The venomous bugs and snakes here were even more terrifying than those in the outside world. Some of them could even bite an immortal to death with a single bite. Jiyu Fei sat cross-legged on a mountain peak. As the mountain breeze blew, his long hair fluttered behind him. The recent series of battles had increased his cultivation again. The mighty realm was divided into 9 heavens. Only those who stood at the 5th heavens could be called the Emperor of Mighty Beings. Those who stood at the peak of the 9 heavens were the Emperor of Mighty Beings. Jiyu Fei was only at the 2nd heaven of Almighty, but with his physique, he could already challenge the Emperor of Emperors at the 9th heaven. Have I reached a bottleneck again? Jiyu Fei murmured to himself. He woke up from his meditative state. Looking into his body, he found that the chaotic energy in his dantian had grown to the size of a pigeon's egg. Although the ball of chaotic essence was small, it seemed to be nurturing a world of chaos within it. The power of yin and yang constantly gathered before being refined into chaotic essence. This process was very slow, but Jiyu Fei could feel the primal essence qi increasing bit by bit. Yin and yang transformed into primal chaos. Jiyu Fei's martial Tao true force was transforming from the most primitive power. The most primitive power was the strongest power, the source of all power. Jiyu Fei didn't cultivate a single power. He chose a more difficult path. The path he walked was more dangerous and full of thorns than ordinary martial artists. At this time, Jiyu Fei's yin and yang energy was exuberant. The Tao patterns imprinted on his bones gradually became clearer and the power of the great Tao was condensing. Imprinting the great Tao on one's body could allow one to achieve eternity. This was a martial artist's body tempering method. It could allow the martial body to coexist with the great Tao, making it immortal. This was the process of the indestructible martial body's birth. As long as Ji Fei's cultivation broke through to the third heaven of Almighty, he would have the confidence to challenge a half-saint. Martial artists who were successful in cultivation were invincible in the same realm. This was not a legend, but a reality. Ji Fei felt that his cultivation had reached a bottleneck. Perhaps he only needed a fierce battle to break through his current cultivation shackles. Placing oneself on the edge of life and death would stimulate the potential of the martial body, allowing the martial body to sublimate. This was a cultivation shortcut, but it required a great risk. It seems that a battle with that ancient demon is inevitable. Ji Fei stood up from the mountain peak and looked in the direction of the Chaos Dragon Cave. A powerful battle intent emanated from his body. He could feel the blood in his body boiling. Erebus was currently in the process of reconstructing his physical body, so he couldn't be of any help. However, he still had his saint-grade puppet avatar, as well as his extreme path holy weapon. If he used all his trump cards, it wouldn't be impossible for him to obtain that dragon scale. Ji Fei thought of various possibilities. Although the power of the supreme true dragon was hiding in the Chaos Dragon Cave, he still had a chance if he was well prepared. Right now, he needed a battle. For the next few days, Ji Fei appeared in the vicinity of the Chaos Dragon Cave. He was planning and imprinting Dao patterns on the mountains and rivers. He wanted to borrow the power of heaven and earth. Attacking the Chaos Dragon Cave was not a trivial matter. The reason why the Desolate Era demon race had been able to prosper and not disappear in the long years was because of the existence of the Chaos Dragon Cave. Since ancient times, no one had truly breached this forbidden ground of the Desolate Era demon race. What Ji Fei was about to do was simply too inconceivable. Even Ji Fei himself only had a 50% chance of success, not 100%. 7 or 8 days later, on a dark and windy night, Ji Fei buried the mountain and river cauldron into the ground. Then, he waited for an opportunity. More than half a month had passed and Ji Fei did not make a move. He was very patient. At this time, the great demon in the Chaos Dragon Cave gradually relaxed its tensed nerves. They guessed that the human powerhouse had retreated. However, no one knew that Ji Fei was waiting on the side. He would then attack the demons in the Chaos Dragon Cave to break the balance of power between the two sides. More than a month later, on an evening, a figure walked towards the direction of the Chaos Dragon Cave alone. It was a powerhouse of the human race. With every step he took, there was a surge of Tao beneath his feet. The powerful aura exuded from this powerhouse was felt by all the demons in the forbidden ground of the demon race. This person did not hide his aura. Wasn't that person defeated by an ancient powerhouse of my race? Why does he still dare to come here? Some demons felt that this aura was unique to the powerhouse of the human race that was defeated by Tian Peng a month ago. Whoosh! A figure sitting in the depths of the chaotic dragon cave immediately opened his eyes. 2 beams of divine light shot out from his eyes, each several feet long. Again! How reckless! After saying this, the ancient demon's figure instantly disappeared on the spot. At this time, all the demons in the Chaos Dragon Cave were shocked. They thought that this human powerhouse would not dare to come again. But now, this human powerhouse came again. Ever since Ji Fei entered the forbidden ground of the demon race, other forces in the wildlands had their eyes on the wildlands demon race, especially the wildlands beast race. The wildlands beast race knew what Ji Fei was looking for. The wildlands demon race's dragon scale was not lost. In other words, Ji Fei was still eyeing the Chaos Dragon Cave. Today, all these guesses had come true. Ji Fei entered the Chaos Dragon Cave alone. Target =_blank. Chapter 1448. Ji Fei charging into the Dragon Cave alone caused the entire desolate demon race to be extremely nervous. Intruders shall die. A loud roar was heard. A powerful silhouette rushed over from afar. Demonic chi shot up to the sky. This was a powerful demon. His powerful aura caused the entire heaven and earth to tremble. Boom! The void trembled. The demon directly attacked Ji Fei. A green divine spear emitted a demonic light and pierced towards Ji Fei. On the surface of the spear, ancient demonic runes appeared. Ji Fei sneered. He didn't stop and continued to walk forward. However, he punched out with the power of extreme yang blossoming on his fist. Clang! When Ji Fei's fist collided with the demonic chi spear, a metallic clang was heard. The spear was immediately broken into several pieces and flew back to the demon. What? The great demon's shock was no small matter. One had to know that his spear was an ancient weapon. It wasn't something that ordinary divine weapons could compare to. But now, this ancient weapon was broken into several pieces by a single punch. This made the great demon feel as if he was in a dream. Everything was too surreal. However, what happened next made the demon scared out of his wits. After he blocked the pieces of the ancient weapon that were flying back to him, he found out that Yi Futian's fist had already arrived in front of him. Roar! The demon roared in anger. Demonic energy erupted from his body. He wanted to retreat, but it was too late. Ji Fei's fist was unstoppable. It was impossible for him to dodge. Bang! Catcher! Ji Fei's punch landed on the Great Yaro's chest and the sound of bones breaking immediately rang out from the Great Yaro's body. His entire chest caved in, his chest sticking to his back. Ji Fei's punch had nearly pierced through his body. Die! Ji Fei exhaled and shouted. He shook his fist and a powerful force exploded from his fist. Bang! The great demon was immediately turned into a cloud of blood mist by his fist force. Even the great demon's origin soul was directly shattered by Ji Fei's sudden burst of fist force, and both his body and soul were destroyed. A greater demon with the cultivation and strength of the Dao-severing realm could not even withstand a single punch from this human, and was directly destroyed in body and soul. This scene shocked all the experts of the demon clan. Some great demons wanted to take action, but when they saw how formidable Ji Fei was, they shrunk back. However, among the demon race, there were great demons who were not afraid of death. A powerful wave of demonic power erupted in front of Ji Fei. 1,000 feet long dragon rode a gust of demonic wind and swept towards Ji Fei. Sand and pebbles flew in all directions. Ji Fei did not stop and directly rushed into the demonic wind. Soon, a shrill scream was heard from the demonic wind, and the demonic wind gradually dissipated. All the great demons were shocked. Ji Fei did not stop and instantly left the corpse of a dragon on the ground. There was a large hole in the dragon's head, and its origin soul was destroyed. Another great demon was easily killed by Ji Fei. Damn it! I'll fight you. A stone demon whose body emitted a dazzling golden light walked over from the direction of the chaotic dragon cave. Its huge body was 10 feet tall, and it gave off a strong sense of oppression. This time, Ji Fei stopped in his tracks. He was very surprised. He activated the martial path Heavenly Eye and immediately saw the source that was striding over. This stone demon was actually a metal element divine stone of the 5 elements. After a long time, it had gained sentience and cultivated the body of a greater demon. Boundless metal elemental energy emanated from this stone demon's body. This stone demon was far stronger than the 2 greater demons from before. The time needed for a divine stone to become a demon was absolutely unimaginable. It could easily be calculated in tens of thousands of years. This stone demon had probably cultivated for hundreds of thousands of years to grow to this stage. Die. With a few steps, the stone demon had already arrived in front of Ji Fei. It then directly punched down at Ji Fei. The fist was like a small mountain, and the void collapsed. The stone demon had a demon body that had cultivated for hundreds of thousands of years. It was innately strong, and it unexpectedly clashed head-on with Ji Fei. There were no tricks at all. Heh! Ji Fei shouted and also punched out. It was rare to meet such an opponent. He wanted to see if his opponent's 10,000-year demon body was stronger, or if his almighty martial body was stronger. The body of a martial artist was the strongest body in the human race. When the martial body was cultivated to the great completion realm, it could be said to be indestructible. It was even stronger than the physique of an innate divine beast. Ji Fei's martial body was still far from the great completion realm. However, The strength of the almighty martial body was enough to resist a half-saint weapon refined by a half-saint. Boom! The two fists of completely different sizes collided, but an incomparably shocking sound burst out. It was as if two ancient divine mountains had collided in an instant. Ji Yufei withstood the stone demon's ferocious attack, but the ground beneath his feet caved in and undulated violently like ripples on water. With Ji Yufei at the center, the shockwave spread out in all directions, causing the nearby mountains to crumble and dust to fly into the air. It was a chaotic scene. This place was less than 5,000 miles away from the chaotic dragon cave. The fluctuation here had long been sensed by the ancient demon in the chaotic dragon cave. However, for some reason, the ancient demon did not appear. At this moment, Ji Yufei's fist collided with the stone demon's fist. The stone demon's fist was extremely heavy, and he felt as if his fist was pressing against 100,000 mountains. Good fella, the strength of the stone demon was so strong that even Ji Yufei couldn't help but be shocked. If the stone demon's fist were to hit the body of an ordinary almighty, the opponent would have been killed in an instant. Unfortunately, the stone demon's opponent was Ji Yufei. Roar! Ji Yufei roared. The yin and yang true force in his body was vast and mighty. An even more powerful force erupted from his fist, and unexpectedly, the stone demon's mountain-like fist was slowly repelled. What, in the distance, all the great demons who witnessed this scene were dumbfounded. This human almighty actually suppressed the stone demon in terms of strength. How was this possible? This was too unbelievable. One had to know that the demon body of the stone demon had been cultivating for more than 100,000 years. Apart from that, before the stone demon gained sentience, its stone body had been nourished by the spiritual energy of heaven and earth for countless years. This kind of demon body was definitely one of the strongest demon bodies in the world, but now, the stone demon's strength was actually inferior to this human almighty. Was this possible? The stone demon's body emitted a dazzling golden light. It roared again, and continuously exerted its strength. The entire heaven and earth collapsed, and pitch-black spatial cracks appeared. However, no matter how fierce the stone demon was, Ji Yufei still stood there like an ancient sacred mountain, motionless and unshakable. Recommend. Fly. Speed. Medium. When. Net. Target = blank. Chapter 1449. The rock demon was incomparably powerful. He was definitely an expert of the demon clan. His cultivation and strength were comparable to an ancient demon, especially with his metal element demon body. Even an ancient demon would not be able to hurt him. Whoosh! He had a powerful demon body, and his cultivation and strength were comparable to an ancient demon. Among the demon clan of the wilderness, there was no other existence like him. However, such an existence could not gain the upper hand against Ji Yufei. His powerful demon body showed signs of being suppressed by Ji Yufei's martial body. Roar! The rock demon roared angrily, and the whole world shook. A violent force erupted from his body, causing the void to tremble. His stone hair danced wildly, and his killing intent soared to the 9 heavens. Although he had gone all out, the rock demon did not reverse the situation. His fist, which was the size of a small mountain, was gradually forced back by the opponent's fist. How is this possible? The demons watching from afar were all shocked. No one could accept such an ending. The rock demon's strength was undeniable, but now he was gradually being suppressed by the human clan. Go and invite old ancestor Tian Peng, a greater demon shouted. Only an ancient demon would be able to fight against this human. His opponent was simply too powerful. Other than ancient demons, no one else could stop his advance. Ha ha. Ha ha. Ha ha. Ha ha. Moreover, 2 great demon clan experts had already died in the hands of this human clan almighty. This human clan almighty could kill great demons in the almighty realm as easily as blowing off dust. Some demons immediately rushed to the sky and flew towards the chaotic dragon cave. They wanted to invite the ancient demon Heavenly Peng to deal with Ji Yufei. When Ji Yufei first entered the dragon cave, he was chased away by the power of the chaotic true dragon triggered by the ancient Fei Heavenly Peng. In the hearts of the demons, only the ancient Fei Heavenly Peng could kill this powerful human. Kill! Ji Fei shouted. An even more powerful force erupted from his fist. Then, the rock demon was sent flying hundreds of feet away by this force. The rock demon was extremely shocked. Golden blood flowed out of his golden fist. The rock demon's body had already formed flesh and blood. He was an incomparably powerful life form. The stone demon found it hard to believe that there was actually someone in this world that could injure his body. It had to be known that his body was as strong as a saint weapon. Even if a saint weapon were to attack his body, it would be difficult to truly injure him. However, the human in front of it had injured its strongest demon body with just one punch. This was something the stone demon could not accept. It was too unbelievable. Even after cultivating for hundreds of thousands of years, it was still not a match for this human. This caused the stone demon to be both shocked and furious. It was on the verge of going berserk. The metal elemental energy around its body surged violently, showing signs of going berserk. Rays of golden light circled around the stone demon's body, as dazzling as golden lightning. A dangerous aura emanated from the stone demon's body. However, Ji Fei was similarly shocked, because he had practically used his full strength in this punch of his. Even if it was a real piece of 5 elements godly metal, it would still be smashed into pieces by his punch. The body of the stone demon was very powerful. At the very least, it was the most powerful body that Ji Fei had encountered since he started cultivating. It was so powerful that even Ji Fei himself could not smash it into pieces. The martial body of the human race was definitely one of the most powerful bodies in the world. The body of the stone demon had already reached the point where it was comparable to the martial body of the human race. Golden domain! The stone demon roared angrily. Countless demonic inscriptions immediately rushed out of its body. The demonic inscriptions were imprinted in the air, forming a golden world. The demonic inscriptions isolated the aura of the outside world, forming a part of the void. In this golden domain, the stone demon was the supreme demon god. Ji Fei did not make a move. He allowed the stone demon to form the golden domain. In an instant, he was trapped in a dazzling golden world. In this void, all that could be seen was golden light. Rays of golden light constantly flashed in this part of the void. They were so fast that it was almost impossible to see them with the naked eye. Swoosh! A golden ray of light rushed past Ji Fei. A corner of his sleeve was swept by this ray of light. In an instant, it turned into ashes and dissipated in the void. Ji Fei was shocked. These golden rays of light actually had such terrifying power. This time, he was a little careless. The void of the stone demon seemed to be very extraordinary. You are too confident. The stone demon's figure, which was shining with golden light, walked over from afar. A strong sense of oppression immediately appeared in this part of the void. Do you think that you can defeat me like this? Ji Fei smiled. His face was still indifferent, showing no emotion. It had to be said that the golden domain of the stone demon was very powerful. However, it was still not enough to suppress him with such power. Won't you know after you try? The stone demon didn't say much. He directly attacked. Countless golden rays of light that lingered around him immediately shot towards Ji Fei. The golden divine rainbows that covered the sky gave off terrifying ripples that made people's hearts palpitate. Every single divine rainbow was enough to kill a powerful being. They were extremely powerful. Ji Fei stood in the golden domain. He couldn't avoid it at all. Because in this golden domain, the golden rays of light that the stone demon shot out were everywhere. Ji Fei snorted. Then, his hands turned into yin and yang. He used the yin-yang reincarnation fist. A yin-yang diagram immediately emerged from his body. He propped up the yin-yang diagram and protected himself under it. The golden beams of light that pierced through from all directions instantly collided with the yin-yang Dao diagram. A yin-yang power surged out from the diagram, blocking all the golden beams of light that pierced through it. The power of yin and yang emanated from Ji Fei's fists. Yin and yang intertwined and evolved into a flawless fist intent. As his fists vibrated, countless golden rays of light collapsed. Circles of the power of yin and yang spread out from Ji Yufei's fists. The place where he stood was impregnable. Not even a drop of water could enter. What? The stone demon was shocked when he saw this. Yi Futian's combat power was too amazing. He was able to resist such an attack. It had to be known that this was in his own domain, the power of yin and yang intertwined as if it was evolving into heaven and earth. It made Ji Yufei untouchable. Even though he was in his opponent's domain, he could still move freely. I don't believe that I can't kill you. The stone demon began to fight desperately. The fluctuations of the golden demon power that emanated from his body reached its peak. Demon tattoos began to appear on his body. The power of the great path was condensing, and each demon tattoo was emitting a brilliant golden light. Then, it was branded into the void from the stone demon's body. The demon tattoo of the great path emitted an eternal demon light. It imprinted itself on Ji Yufei. Each demon tattoo was a trace of the great path, and there was the power of the great path lingering around it. When Ji Yufei saw this scene, he couldn't help but be surprised. This kind of method was not something that could be used by an ordinary cultivator of the severing path. To use the power of the great path to kill an opponent was really amazing. The demon tattoos came to kill, making Ji Yufei feel a strong pressure. The power of the entire golden domain was triggered by countless demon tattoos of the great path. All of them rushed towards Ji Yufei. The stone demon used his trump card, vowing to kill Ji Yufei. How dare you? Ji Yufei couldn't help but be shocked. The power of the great path couldn't be resisted. The yin-yang Dao diagram that he had evolved suffered a great impact. The power of yin and yang was constantly being dissolved, and the yin-yang Dao diagram gradually shrank. Soon, countless demon tattoos of the great path surrounded Ji Yufei. The power of the great path was vast, and each demon tattoo was emitting a brilliant golden light. It triggered the power of the great path to refine Ji Yufei. The vast and mighty strength that surged out from the yin-yang Dao diagram was suppressed. Ji Yufei felt a sense of danger, but he remained fearless. You still won't die this time? When the stone demon saw that Ji Yufei was suppressed, his confidence increased. This was his last resort. If he couldn't kill his opponent, then he would be in danger. This level is not enough. Ji Yufei's voice was still calm, without the slightest hint of nervousness. He could also use the power of the great path, and his Dao tattoo was branded on his bones. The yin-yang Dao diagram that evolved from the yin-yang reincarnation fist could no longer resist the suppression of the demon tattoos of the great path. He had to shake his muscles and bones and condense his power of the great path. Within Ji Yufei's body, there was the sound of wind and thunder. The Dao tattoo that was branded on his bones began to devour the power of yin and yang. Then, it gradually emitted a brilliant divine light. An aura of the great path surged out from Ji Yufei's body. When the stone demon sensed this aura of the great path, his expression suddenly changed. He knew that he was in trouble. At this time, the divine tattoos of the great path began to appear on Ji Yufei's body. These were the Dao tattoo that he had cultivated. Each Dao tattoo was branded into his flesh and bones. The power of the great path surged, and the rhythm of the great path lingered. Ji Yufei's entire body seemed to have become the carrier of the great path, as if he had fused with it. The great path is with me. How can you suppress me? Ji Yufei seemed to have become the incarnation of the great path. The power of the yin-yang reincarnation fist surged out, and an even more powerful yin-yang Dao diagram emerged from his body. Rumble, the two powers of the great path collided, and the demon tattoos of the great path could no longer advance. They were blocked by the yin-yang Dao diagram. Ji Yufei circulated his power of the great path and turned it into traces of the great path to resist the stone demon's demon tattoos. At this time, Ji Yufei's entire body and mind had entered a mysterious state. At this time, he displayed the peak of his power. Eat my fist. On Ji Yufei's fist, the Dao tattoo emerged. He punched out, and the entire golden domain trembled. An extremely powerful fist force erupted from his fist. Wherever the fist force passed, it destroyed everything. A large number of demon tattoos of the Great Path were blasted away. This was an invincible fist will. It pressed forward as if it could destroy everything. Target =_ blank. Chapter 1450. Ji Fei and the golem battled. Both sides used their strongest strength, but Ji Fei had the upper hand. With a single punch, he broke the seal of the golem's Great Path. The yin-yang reincarnation fist manifested the Great Path of yin and yang. Ji Fei's combat strength was unparalleled. He forcefully broke through the seal of the golem's Great Path. With the imprint of the Great Path on his body, Ji Fei was like the carrier of the Great Path. Nothing could touch him. He took the initiative to attack the golem. His fists shook the entire gold domain. The entire gold domain was cracked by Ji Fei's fist force. The golem also suffered a great impact. Its body trembled. How is this possible? The golem roared. He knew that he had lost. His opponent's combat strength was too strong. Although he was unwilling, he had to admit that he was no match for his opponent. Even after using the power of the Great Path, he still lost. Bang! Ji Fei sent the golem flying with a punch. There was no suspense. Even in the golem's domain, he was still invincible. The Great Path divine patterns appeared on his body. Every move he made was imbued with the power of the Great Path. Every punch and kick could shatter the void. After sending the golem flying with a punch, Ji Fei directly tore the gold domain apart and stepped out. Above the mountain, a large amount of golden light shot out. A figure, like a peerless god of war, bathed in the golden light, walked out from the void. The demons watching from afar were all dumbfounded when they saw that person. The person who walked out from the golem's domain was not the golem. Didn't that mean that the golem was already dead? This place was not far from the Chaos Dragon Cave. However, the demons who went to invite Heavenly Peng had not returned yet. Heavenly Peng did not appear. What's going on? Why hasn't old ancestor Heavenly Peng arrived yet? The great demons were uneasy. Ji Fei had even defeated the stone demon. Was there anyone else in the entire desolate demon race that could compete with this human? Unless the Heavenly Peng ancient demon took action, no one could stop Ji Fei. Moreover, Ji Fei came prepared this time. Even if the Heavenly Peng ancient demon took action, Ji Fei wouldn't retreat so easily. Ji Fei was determined to obtain the dragon scales in the Chaos Dragon Cave. At this time, He Tian was in Ji Fei's inner world reconstructing his body, so he had not yet recovered to his peak state. If he had He Tian's help, things might be a lot smoother. Roar! A furious roar shook the mountains and rivers. A towering figure appeared high up in the sky. The rock demon's body emitted a boundless demonic aura. It was extremely ferocious. However, there were drops of golden blood dripping down from the sky. He was punched by Ji Fei. Cracks appeared on his powerful demonic body, and golden blood seeped out from the cracks. If it was any other great demon, they would have been killed by Ji Fei's punch. One had to admit that the rock demon's demonic body was really strong. Even Ji Fei was secretly shocked by such a strong demonic body. The Rock Emperor is actually injured. How is this possible? Someone as strong as the Rock Emperor was really defeated. The rock demon was blessed by the heavens. After cultivating to become a great demon, he was far stronger than the average great demon. He was the strongest demon emperor in the desolate demon race apart from the Wildlands Demon Lord and the two ancient demons. The great demons' hearts turned cold. If the Rock Emperor wasn't a match for him, then they definitely wouldn't be a match for this human. There was only one outcome for them if they went against this human, and that was death. The Dao patterns that appeared on Ji Fei's body activated the power of the great Dao. Dao rhymes circled around him. When he punched out, the power of the great Dao surged around his fist. The metal elemental power on the Rock Emperor's body surged, and the cracks on his body healed quickly. Golden blood flowed back into his body. He flipped his right hand, and a stone saber appeared in his hand. Swish! The Rock Emperor waved the golden stone saber in his hand, and a dazzling golden saber light rushed out from the stone saber. It was thousands of feet long, and it was aimed at Ji Fei. Bam! Ji Fei punched out, and it met the golden saber light directly. The ferocious fist force smashed through the void, and it pierced through the heaven and earth. The invincible fist intent was unleashed. The golden saber light was shattered by Ji Yufei's fist. Ji Yufei was unstoppable. After his fist shattered the saber light, his fist force didn't diminish, and it continued to smash towards the Rock Emperor. The Rock Emperor's cultivation was strong, and it wasn't something an ordinary demon emperor could compare with. The golden stone saber in his hand had golden Dao patterns on it. Clang! The stone saber and Ji Yufei's fist clashed, and a metallic sound was heard. Ji Yufei actually used his fist to fight against the Rock Emperor's demonic saber. All the demons watching from afar were dumbfounded. This human's physical body was actually so strong. The Rock Emperor's demonic saber was branded with Dao patterns, and it was definitely made of saint-tier material. Using one's physical body to fight against the stone saber was definitely a crazy thing to do. Ji Yufei and the Rock Emperor started fighting again. The two of them moved quickly in the sky. Although the Rock Emperor's body was huge, it was extremely fast when he moved. The size of the two of them was not proportional. It was like a golden giant fighting against a normal human. Although Ji Yufei's body was much smaller than the Rock Emperor's, he was able to burst out with great power, and he was able to suppress the Rock Emperor, forcing him to retreat continuously. Buzz! The golden stone saber hummed and shot out thousands of saber lights. The heaven and earth seemed to be split in half. Within the saber light, there were Dao patterns faintly visible. Roar! The Rock Emperor roared. This was his full strength. The power of his body was vast, and the power of the metal element caused the whole world to shake. Ji Yufei's right hand seemed to be holding a divine sun, and his left hand was holding a bright moon. The power of yin and yang intertwined. The reincarnation fist art displayed the invincible fist will. The power of the sun exploded from his right fist, and it was like a divine sun rising into the sky. It collided with the saber light that was slashing down. The two powerful forces collided, and a blinding divine light burst out. All the demons couldn't open their eyes. The space between Ji Yufei and the Rock Emperor started to be destroyed, and it turned into chaos. The two powerful forces destroyed everything. It was too terrifying. Ji Yufei also felt that it was very strenuous. The Rock Emperor was much stronger than he had imagined. The shocking attack of the stone saber actually made him feel danger. The monstrous fist force was blocked. If the Dao patterns were imprinted on his body, he would probably be injured too. With the Dao patterns imprinted on his body, Ji Yufei's fist had Dao patterns. He condensed his Dao power, and he could fight against the Rock Emperor's stone saber. The two of them started an intense battle in the chaos. Buzz! The stone saber vibrated repeatedly. The golden Dao patterns imprinted on the saber body emitted a dazzling golden light. Every slash seemed to be able to destroy everything in the world. Ji Yufei's fists kept colliding with the stone saber. With the demon saber in hand, the Rock Emperor's combat power soared. Ji Yufei couldn't suppress the Rock Emperor for a while. The great demons watching from afar were both surprised and delighted. The Stone Emperor was an old antique that had cultivated for more than 100,000 years, after all. His demon the Arch-Saber was able to block the powerful human race's almighty. However, the ancient demon, old ancestor Heavenly Peng, didn't show up for a long time. This made Ji Yufei a little apprehensive. The Heavenly Peng ancient demon was extremely powerful. His cultivation had probably reached the half-sage realm long ago. Moreover, this ancient demon could draw the power of the extreme Dao True Dragon in the Chaos Dragon Cave for his own use. Ji Yufei was fearless, but he was apprehensive about the power of the extreme Dao True Dragon in the Chaos Dragon Cave. That kind of power wasn't something he could contend with. "I'm done playing with you." Ji Yufei used the Heaven Ascension secret art. His combat power instantly increased by 10 times. A domineering and terrifying aura spread out from his body, shocking the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Rumble! The blood in Ji Yufei's body circulated rapidly. There was a muffled sound of wind and thunder. With just one punch, the demon the Arch-Saber in the Rock Emperor's hand was sent flying. The saber was covered with cracks and was almost shattered. Swish! Ji Fei instantly disappeared from where he was. In the next moment, he appeared beside the Rock Emperor. He grabbed the Rock Emperor's right arm and pulled hard. The Rock Emperor immediately let out an earth-shattering roar. His entire arm was torn off by Ji Fei. Golden blood spurted out. He was no match for Ji Fei at all. How is this possible? Everyone was stunned. How did the situation change so drastically in such a short period of time? How did this human get so strong all of a sudden? What's going on? Is this human powerhouse pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger? Ji Fei's sudden change in aura and the terrifying combat power he displayed shocked all the big demons. Without any suspense, the Rock Emperor was defeated. In fact, he was utterly defeated. It turned out that this human had been playing with him all along. He didn't take him seriously at all. Only now did he reveal his true strength. This made the Rock Emperor feel like all his hopes were dashed. Ji Fei didn't kill him. He threw the Rock Emperor 10,000 feet away with one hand and used the Void Step. It was as if he merged with the void and disappeared instantly. Boom! Very soon, a terrifying wave of energy erupted from the Chaos Dragon Cave. Huge dragons rushed out from the huge cave that was spewing chaotic essence. Those were not real dragons. They were just illusions formed by Dragon Chi. The Dragon Chi was vast and mighty. A terrifying power that made one's heart palpitate was awakened. The Chaos Dragon Cave was bottomless. It was pitch black inside. Boundless Dragon Chi rushed out from the bottom. In the depths of the chaos, it was as if a real dragon had been awakened. Haha. Good that you came. I was afraid that you wouldn't come. Since you are here, don't leave. The ancient voice of the heavenly Peng ancient demon resounded in the Chaos Dragon Cave. At the bottom of the Chaos Dragon Cave, divine light flashed and a divine rainbow cut through the darkness. Over there, the shadows of dragons were circling. A human figure was rushing left and right, trying to rush out. However, he was stopped by the eruption of endless Dragon Chi. The Chaos Dragon Cave's extreme Dao pattern had been activated. Target =_blank. Chapter 1451. Ji Fei displayed one of the 9 secrets of the immortal Dao, the Heaven Ascension mystic art. His combat strength instantly increased tenfold, easily defeating the Stone Emperor whose cultivation and strength was second only to the ancient Fei. After that, Ji Fei charged into the Chaos Dragon Cavern while he was in the Heaven Ascension state, triggering the terrifying array within. Haha. You managed to escape last time, but this time, I'll make sure you never return. The ancient Fei's voice came from the Chaos Dragon Cavern. He triggered the true dragon power of the entire Chaos Dragon Cavern to suppress Ji Fei. Rumble. The entire Chaos Dragon Cavern shook. Demonic runes of the extreme Dao appeared in the Chaos Dragon Cavern, emitting wisps of extreme Dao aura. Roar. Ji Fei roared repeatedly. The yin-yang transmigration fist shook the heavens and earth. Every punch would cause the entire Chaos Dragon Cavern to tremble. The ferocity of the fist force shocked even the ancient Fei. This is one of the 9 secrets of the immortal Dao, the Heaven Ascension mystic art. The ancient Fei had lived for countless years. His knowledge was extraordinary. This kind of mystic art that could instantly increase a cultivator's combat strength tenfold seemed to be the Heaven Ascension mystic art. However, the extreme Dao power within the Chaos Dragon Cavern was awakening. This made Ji Fei feel danger. Streams of chaotic dragon chi rushed up from below, nearly tearing apart the mighty martial body. Wang. The void let out a rumbling sound. A yin-yang Dao diagram appeared on Ji Fei's body. The vast yin-yang Dao power repelled the surrounding chaotic dragon chi. His hands turned into the yin-yang eyes of the yin-yang Dao diagram. The extreme yang and extreme yin power circulated rapidly as though they were experiencing reincarnation. This was the profoundness of the yin-yang transmigration fist. This combat technique had already touched upon the Dao. It could be said to be a manifestation of the great Dao. It had already surpassed the technique. This guy, the ancient Fei, could not help but be shocked and angered by this scene. This human mighty figure was too heaven-defying. He was only at the second firmament of mighty figure, but he had already comprehended such a combat technique. This human mighty figure could already be considered a peerless genius. If such a person were to mature, he would definitely be a great threat to the demon race. The ancient Fae had to kill Jiyu Fei. Boom. The heavenly Peng ancient demon used all his strength to trigger the extreme true dragon power within the Chaos Dragon lair. The entire void seemed to have turned into a piece of primal chaos. The Chaos Dragon lair emitted a terrifying wave that seemed like it could split the heavens. Roar. A dragon roar resounded from the depths of the primal Chaos Dragon cave. Countless ancient demonic runes condensed and a terrifying dragon shadow appeared in the depths of the primal Chaos Dragon cave. Jiyu Fei felt a heart-palpitating aura, as if he was being stared at by a peerless ferocious beast, and his scalp went numb. Die. The voice of the heavenly Peng ancient demon sounded once again. The terrifying dragon shadow in the depths of the Chaos Dragon lair immediately soared into the sky and lunged towards Jiyu Fei. Could it be that there is still a true dragon hiding in the Chaos Dragon cave? Jiyu Fei was startled. A vast and boundless dragon chi surged up from below. The entire Chaos Dragon cave was shaking, and one after another ancient demon marks were emitting a dazzling demon light. If it wasn't for these ancient demon marks, the Chaos Dragon cave would have collapsed long ago. A trace of sage aura was emitted from the dragon shadow. Although it wasn't an extreme sage aura, it was enough to cause Jiyu Fei's expression to change. Saint-class power, boom. Just as the dragon shadow was about to collide with Jiyu Fei, a hazy figure suddenly rushed out from his body and punched out. Bam! With just a single punch, the dragon shadow was dispersed by the figure that suddenly rushed out from Jiyu Fei's body. A surge of sage aura spread throughout the Chaos Dragon cave. What? Two cold lights lit up in the depths of the pitch-black Chaos Dragon cave. That was the gaze of a great demon. The heavenly Peng ancient demon looked at this scene in disbelief. He was dumbfounded. The figure that rushed out from Jiyu Fei's body condensed in the void. The dragon shadow completely dissipated in the void, and the ancient demon marks were collapsing. That mysterious person's punch had displayed the power of a sage. Only the power of a sage could contend against the power of a sage. What made the heavenly Peng ancient demon dumbfounded was that the hazy figure revealed its true appearance. The mysterious person that resolved the crisis with a single punch was actually the same as the human expert. How can there be two? The heavenly Peng ancient demon could no longer maintain his composure. He knew that the desolate demon race was about to face a serious calamity. A sage had actually barged into the Chaos Dragon cave. Sage was an extremely ancient name. It was so ancient that the heavenly Peng ancient demon had almost forgotten about it. It was impossible for a sage to appear in this world. This violated the laws of heaven and earth after the great desolate world. Hand over the dragon scale and everything will be over. Otherwise, the Jiyu Fei that dispersed the dragon shadow spoke. The other Jiyu Fei, who had been fighting with the heavenly Peng ancient demon for a while, turned into a wisp of green chi and entered the saint-class Jiyu Fei's body. Three pure ones. The heavenly Peng ancient demon was shocked to see this scene from the depths of the Chaos Dragon cave. It seemed like the other party had already mastered the 9 secrets of the immortal Tao, a secret technique that was known to be invincible in ancient times. As it turned out, Jiyu Fei did not barge into the Chaos Dragon cave with his true body. The Chaos Dragon cave was a place where a true dragon of the extreme Tao had appeared. This place had the aura of a true dragon and was the sacred ground of the desolate demon race. Since ancient times, it was unknown how many great demons had cultivated in this place, leaving behind countless demon marks that were imprinted on every corner of the Chaos Dragon cave. Just now, the heavenly Peng ancient demon had only activated a killing array left behind by an ancient demon. The power of a true dragon was not so easily activated and used. To use the power of an extreme Tao, it required a process. Just like how Jiyu Fei had to make all sorts of preparations to use the mountain and river cauldron before he could successfully activate a wisp of the extreme Tao sage aura of the mountain and river cauldron. The power of an extreme Tao was still brewing in the depths of the Chaos Dragon cave. However, Jiyu Fei was not foolish enough to let this power gather without making a move. You want the treasure of my race? Not unless you walk over my dead body. The heavenly Peng ancient demon was very determined. It was impossible for him to obediently hand over the dragon scale left behind by a true dragon of the extreme Tao. The dragon scale contained a major secret of the demon race. The dragon scale could not fall into the hands of experts of other races. Since that's the case, I'll go get it myself. Without hesitation, Jiyu Fei used an immortal Tao divine art. His entire body turned into a phantom as he pounced downwards. This was his saint-tier puppet clone. It was a battle tool refined by a great sage of the human race. It could display the power of a saint-tier expert. If Jiyu Fei's Yuan spirit was strong enough, he could make this saint-tier clone display its peak power. Such power was enough to compete with a true sage. This puppet clone was an immortal Tao sacred body refined by a great sage of the human race. It could display all sorts of supreme immortal Tao arts. Jiyu Fei's pounce was extremely fast. Kill. Jiyu Fei conjured a huge hand towards the heavenly Peng ancient demon seal in the depths of the Chaos Dragon Cave. Saint-tier immortal Tao power shook the entire Chaos Dragon Cave. Within the Chaos Dragon Cave, the countless demonic marks left behind by the predecessors of the demon race lit up. The condensed great Tao demonic power sealed this part of the void. It was these great Tao demonic power that prevented Jiyu Fei from erasing the Chaos Dragon Cave from the wildlands with a single palm strike. Meanwhile, Jiyu Fei's true body was a full 3,000 kilometers away from the Chaos Dragon Cave. An ancient cauldron was floating there. Earth veins that looked like true dragons were gathering towards the cauldron of mountains and rivers from all directions. Suppressed by the ancient cauldron, the earth around the Chaos Dragon Cave began to change. Rumble. At this moment, a saint-tier power rippled out from the Chaos Dragon Cave. Deep underground, Jiyu Fei, who was sitting cross-legged on the cauldron of mountains and rivers, suddenly opened his eyes. It's time. Jiyu Fei's true body began to draw upon the power of the cauldron of mountains and rivers. The cauldron began to devour the earth vein essence energy that was gathering from all directions. Wang. The cauldron of mountains and rivers shuddered. The mouth of the cauldron quickly transformed into a black hole that devoured the earth vein essence energy that was gathering from all directions. A powerful aura that could shake the heavens gradually emanated from the cauldron of mountains and rivers. Jiyu Fei was using the endless earth vein essence energy to stimulate the extreme power of the cauldron of mountains and rivers. Just as Jiyu Fei was about to stimulate the extreme power of the cauldron of mountains and rivers, Jiyu Fei's saint-tier avatar had already charged into the depths of the Chaos Dragon Cave. Boom! The huge hand formed by the immortal Tao slammed down. Countless demonic runes crumbled under the pressure of the huge hand. The entire void was shaking and a huge upheaval occurred. Countless demonic runes were activated. Saint-tier auras erupted from the depths of the Chaos Dragon Cave. It was as though many ancient sages of the demon race were awakening. More than a dozen powerful saint-tier auras rushed out from the depths of the Chaos Dragon Cave. These were the great Tao imprints left behind by the sages of the demon race. Now, they were all awakened by the power of Jiyu Fei's saint-tier avatar. A cold laugh came from the depths of the chaos. Heavenly Peng stood in the middle of a huge array. Dragon shadows circled around him. Dragon Qi was vast and mighty. The huge hand formed by Jiyu Fei's saint-tier avatar obliterated a large number of demon race Tao runes. It pressed down on Heavenly Peng. The power of the immortal Tao destroyed everything. However, just as the huge hand formed by the supreme Tao technique was about to slam down on Heavenly Peng's head, 9 dragon shadows rushed out from his body. Boom! The ancient array beneath Heavenly Peng's feet emitted a demonic light that illuminated the dark sky. The power of the ancient array instantly erupted. 9 dragon shadows rushed into the sky like real dragons. They actually blocked the huge hand that was slamming down from the sky. Rumble! The ancient array revolved. Countless ancient runes were emitting resplendent demonic light. The power of the great Tao was condensing into dragon shadows that soared into the sky to resist against Jiyu Fei's saint-tier avatar. This was an ancient killing array of the demon race. It emitted a terrifying and peerless killing intent. The killing intent emitted by the array caused Jiyu Fei's saint-tier avatar to turn serious. Target equals _ blank. Chapter 1452. Chapter 1460, Battle against Tianpeng Ancient Demon Rumble. The demon race-killing array under Tianpeng Ancient Demon's feet was in operation. There seemed to be a starry sky emerging and stars were descending, emitting a peerless killing intent. Dragon shadows hovered in the starry sky formed by the demon clan's killing array. Dragon chi spread in all directions. Every dragon shadow was like a real dragon. Jiyu Fei's sacred level clone struck out with a palm strike, but it was blocked by the 9 dragon shadows. The power of the immortal Tao and the Yarrow Chi clashed, creating visible ripples in the void. The Chaos Dragon Cave's internal space was incomparably stable due to the existence of the extreme Tao demon marks. Even Saint-tier energy could not penetrate the internal space of the Chaos Dragon Cave. Boom! In the end, with a loud bang, the giant palm formed by Jiyu Fei collapsed and the 9 dragon shadows also dissipated in the void. Boundless destructive energy swept out in all directions. However, this energy was quickly neutralized and did not have any effect on the Chaos Dragon Cave. If this was the outside world, 2 Saint-tier energy clashing with each other would cause an explosion that was enough to destroy an entire region. Even the heavens and earth would be pierced through. However, the extreme Tao demon marks appeared in the Chaos Dragon Cave, completely neutralizing the destructive energy waves from the collision of the 2 Saint-tier energies. Jiyu Fei was sent flying and his Saint-tier incarnation was impacted. Tianpeng Ancient Demon, who was standing in the starry sky, trembled continuously. Although he was in the formation, he was still shaken by Jiyu Fei's power. Great! Tianpeng Ancient Demon roared. The strength of his opponent had exceeded his expectations. Moreover, it did not seem like his real body had descended. It was an incarnation of a Saint-tier incarnation. This ancient demon had lived for countless years and his knowledge was extraordinary. The strength of Jiyu Fei's incarnation had stimulated the heavenly rock ancient fiend's fighting spirit. This was the strongest opponent he had encountered in countless years. If it wasn't for the protection of the ancient array, he would have been annihilated by that attack. The true power of a Saint-tier wasn't something a half-Saint-tier could contend against. Even a quasi-sage wouldn't be able to withstand the palm strike of Jiyu Fei's incarnation. Buzz! The void trembled. Heavenly Peng Ancient Fei exuded a monstrous demonic aura. His aura blended with the array beneath his feet. The entire demon race array seemed to be bestowed with life, as though a powerful life form had awakened. Boom! The void trembled and a starry sky seemed to appear around the heavenly Peng Ancient Fei. Stars shone brilliantly and looked extremely real. Kill! Jiyu Fei let out a loud roar and swooped down from the sky. 9 rays of immortal light rushed out from his body and coiled around him. The aura of the immortal Tao filled the sky and earth. The powerful pressure was like 100,000 ancient divine mountains descending from the sky, causing the entire demon race grand array to tremble and shake the starry sky that the grand array had evolved. It's just an incarnation. How can it be so powerful? In the grand array, heavenly Peng Ancient Fei was shocked. The enemy in front of him was much more powerful and terrifying than he had imagined. If it wasn't for the various preparations left behind by the previous generations of demon race in the Chaos Dragon Cave, the Wildland demon race would have been slaughtered by this person. This incarnation was too powerful. Even if the Wildland Demon Lord returned, he would definitely not be a match for it. 10,000 years in a single glance, Jiyu Fei used a kind of immortal Tao technique. His divine eyes emitted an unfathomable wave. Then, the time in the void seemed to be pushed by an invisible hand. The speed of the flow of time instantly increased by many times. Under the gaze of Jiyu Fei's divine eyes, the essence of the grand array was dissipating rapidly, as though 10,000 years had passed. Heavenly Peng Ancient Fei was shocked. He could feel the essence of the great Tao condensed by the demon race grand array was dissipating rapidly. This wasn't a good thing. Law of time? It was too unbelievable. The supreme technique that Jiyu Fei used contained the law of time. It could actually accelerate the flow of time. Such a great technique could only be used by a Saint-tier expert because it was too heaven-defying. It was simply a forbidden technique that ignored the normal laws of heaven and earth. It was enough to throw the world into chaos. If the law of time was controlled, it would be an extremely terrifying thing. Since it could make time flow, it could also be reversed and return to the past. However, the price of disrupting the law of heaven and earth was huge. Moreover, even if one could return to the past, it would be difficult to change what had already happened. However, the future could be changed because the events of the future had yet to happen. The supreme technique that Jiyu Fei used was to bring forward the events of the future. In an instant, more than half of the essence of the ancient array was dissipated. After 10,000 years, the ancient array would be damaged, causing the essence to dissipate. The power of the ancient array would naturally be greatly reduced and it would be difficult for it to display its full power. Heavenly Peng Ancient Fei was shocked and furious. He tried his best to activate the Grand Array. The dim runes of the Grand Array lit up again, emitting a dazzling demonic light and condensing the power of the Great Tao. With this, he managed to resist the power of time that was emitted from Jiyu Fei's eyes. At this moment, Jiyu Fei tore apart the void and charged into the starry sky that the Grand Array had evolved. He made his move forcefully. 9 rays of immortal light rushed out from his body and pierced towards Heavenly Peng Ancient Fei in the starry sky. How dare you barge in? The Heavenly Peng Ancient Monster's spirit was immediately shaken. Then, he activated the formation. Stars condensed around him and smashed towards the 9 divine lights of the immortal path that pierced through. Rumble, great stars streaked across the sky, giving off terrifying ripples. They were like real stars, and they gave off an overwhelming pressure. Boom, boom, boom. The 9 rays of immortal light contained the power of the Great Tao. They pierced through more than 10 huge stars and caused the entire starry sky to shake violently. Like 9 inextinguishable rays of immortal light, they charged towards Heavenly Peng Ancient Fei. Every ray of immortal light emitted terrifying waves and great Tao runes could be vaguely seen. Swoosh! Dragon-shaped ancient runes appeared on Heavenly Peng Ancient Fei's body. Then, the dragon-shaped runes turned into dragon shadows, like the birth of a true dragon. They charged towards the 9 rays of immortal light that pierced through. The 9 dragon shadows drew the power of the true dragon. Dragon roars seemed to resound in the sky and the power that was emitted shook the heavens and earth, shocking the surroundings. The 9 rays of immortal light and the 9 dragon shadows collided in an instant. Then, the 9 rays of immortal light and the 9 dragon shadows were annihilated in an instant. After a moment of stillness, the entire starry sky began to collapse. The destructive power silently spread in all directions. The phenomenon that the ancient demon formation had evolved was dissipating. Target equals _blank. Chapter 1453. Indestructible Martial Saint. Chapter 1461. Sovereign Aura. The killing formation left behind by the ancient sage of the demon race was extraordinary. The 9 rays of immortal light collided with the 9 dragon shadows. Although the destructive force caused the starry sky that was created by the formation to collapse, the formation wasn't damaged at all. Wang. The void trembled, and cracks appeared in the space. The runes of the entire formation dimmed. Although the runes were not destroyed, they were still impacted. Jiyu Fei and Heavenly Peng were both sent flying. Heavenly Peng was in a more miserable state than Jiyu Fei. A trace of blood seeped out from the corner of his mouth, but the demonic aura on his body was stronger than before. A vast demonic aura surged out from the feet of Heavenly Peng. The runes of the demon race's ancient runes immediately emitted a bright demonic light. Swoosh! 9 dragon shadows rushed out of the ancient array and danced around the Heavenly Peng Ancient Fei, emitting waves of dragon might that made one's heart palpitate. An ancient sage formation? Jiyu Fei couldn't help frowning his brows at this scene. It seemed that he wouldn't be able to break this ancient formation if he didn't take it seriously. This ancient formation could transform into a starry sky and draw the dragon aura from the Chaos Dragon Cave for his own use, which posed a certain threat to him. Especially the dragon chi of the true dragon in the Chaos Dragon Cave. Jiyu Fei didn't dare to be careless. Wang. With a thought, a golden light rushed out from Jiyu Fei's body. A saint-tier aura immediately spread out. Within the golden light, there was a golden sacred saber. Sacred weapon? In the formation, Heavenly Peng stared at the golden sacred saber floating in front of Jiyu Fei. His scarlet eyes immediately narrowed. Jiyu Fei was going to use his sacred weapon. 1 more hour, Heavenly Peng's forehead was sweating. Jiyu Fei was going to use his trump card. However, he wasn't prepared enough. He didn't have the confidence to deal a fatal blow to his enemy. Moreover, it was unknown where the other party's true body was hiding. Even if he destroyed this saint-tier incarnation, he would only lose a strand of his primordial spirit. At this time, Jiyu Fei also sensed a supreme power gathering in the depths of the Chaos Dragon lair. It was as though a supreme existence of the extreme Tao was awakening. He knew that his opponent was gathering the power of the extreme Tao. He wanted to kill his opponent when this power reached its peak. Otherwise, he would be in danger. Clang. Jiyu Fei grabbed the golden saint saber in his hand and slashed out. The golden saint saber automatically devoured his celestial Tao energy. The resplendent saber light instantly surged and landed on the demon race's ancient formation. Within the golden saber light, countless golden Tao patterns were faintly discernible. This strike had activated the great Tao imprint within the golden holy saber, allowing the golden holy saber to display at least 60 to 70% of its power. This slash was definitely comparable to an attack from a sage. This, the ancient Fei, Heavenly Peng, who was in the ancient formation, only felt a chill rushing towards him. The saber light had yet to land, but the saber aura had already swept in all directions, causing the ancient formation to tremble. The ancient Fei used 9 streams of dragon qi to protect himself. As his hands moved, the power of the ancient formation rapidly gathered between his hands. A dragon-shaped divine sword appeared in his hands. Swish. The ancient Fei did not think much as he slashed upwards with his sword. Chaotic sword light soared into the sky, shattering the heaven and earth as it clashed with the golden saber light. Neither of them retreated as they faced each other head-on. Clang. A metallic clang resounded through the 9 heavens. Even the great demons outside the Chaos Dragon lair were shaken to the point that their ears oozed blood. All the experts of the demon race were shocked as they retreated into the distance. This was already a saint-tier battle. No one could intervene. Even if the powerful demon lord of the savage wilderness returned, he would be helpless. In the Chaos Dragon lair, sword aura crisscrossed and saber aura shot out. Countless Tao patterns were collapsing. Wherever the saber light and sword aura swept past, the demon race's Tao patterns would appear. However, under the power of a saint-tier battle, the Tao patterns left behind by the predecessors of the demon race were also collapsing. You deserve to die. The ancient Fei was enraged. One had to know that the Tao patterns left behind by the predecessors of the demon race were incomparably precious. It was a great Tao imprint of the predecessors of the demon race. Destroying it like this was equivalent to destroying a legacy of the demon race. Such a loss could not be made up for. Jiyu Fei sneered. The Chaos Divine Sword that the other party had condensed was only in form. It was impossible for it to contend with the true Golden Holy Saber. The great Tao imprint within the Golden Holy Saber was awakening. The saber light gradually suppressed the sword light. Within the ancient formation, the ancient Fei felt an immense pressure. Roar. The ancient Fei roared again and again. He constantly guided the power of the ancient formation to the Chaos Divine Sword above his head. However, the Divine Sword above his head was still descending bit by bit. As long as the golden saber light completely suppressed the Chaos Divine Sword and the saber light descended, the ancient Fei would be killed by Jiyu Fei on the spot. Let's see how long you can resist for. Jiyu Fei powered the golden holy saber with all his might. Golden Tao patterns appeared on the golden holy saber. The Tao patterns intertwined and a powerful force that made one's heart tremble was awakening. Fight! The ancient Fei roared angrily. On the ground beside him, dragon aura rose. The extreme dragon aura was guided over by him. The 9 dragon shadows were about to rush out of the void and turn into real dragons with flesh and blood. He summoned the 9 dragons and sent them into the Chaos Divine Sword. Wang. After the 9 extreme dragon auras were injected into the Chaos Divine Sword, the Chaos Divine Sword immediately vibrated as though it was about to evolve into a real sword body in the void. This was a divine sword in the shape of a dragon. It emitted an extreme aura which made Jiyu Fei feel great danger. His intuition told him that this divine sword was not simple. It might be the extreme Dao Dragon Sword refined by the Chaos True Dragon. Although the Chaos Divine Sword was just a sword shadow, it was an extreme sacred weapon after all. Just a sword shadow was enough to go against a real sacred weapon. A dragon's roar came from the divine sword. This dragon-shaped sword shadow seemed to have a life of its own. The sword aura it emitted was unimaginably powerful. What? Jiyu Fei only felt a strong force coming from the divine sword. He could barely hold the golden holy saber in his hand as his arm went numb from the shock. This is not good. Jiyu Fei knew that the longer this dragged on, the more disadvantageous it would be for him. This was the place where the extreme Dao True Dragon appeared. The other party had not used their trump card yet. It's time. He knew that if he did not use his trump card now, he would not have another chance. The depths of the primal Chaos Dragon Cave started emitting waves of extreme dragon might. This made Jiyu Fei feel a great threat. At this moment, in the depths of the earth 3,000 miles away, Jiyu Fei's real body, who was sitting cross-legged on top of the cauldron of mountain and river, began to move. An extremely terrifying aura suddenly exploded, shaking the heavens and earth. When all living beings sensed this aura, they all prostrated themselves. It was as if an extreme Dao Emperor had descended upon the world, shocking all living beings in the wildlands. Target equals _blank. Chapter 1454. Indestructible Martial Lord Chapter 1462, Savage Ghost Domain Rumble. The Emperor's aura of the extreme Dao erupted as the ancient cauldron became the only thing in the world. Primordial chaos chi surged like dragons circling around the ancient cauldron. A terrifying force that could shake the entire universe spread out from the ancient cauldron, causing all living beings in the wildlands to tremble. Experts from all directions were alarmed. Especially the great demons near the Chaos Dragon Cauldron, all of them knelt down towards the direction of the mountain and river cauldron, as though they were worshipping a supreme sovereign. Inside the Chaos Dragon Cauldron, Heavenly Peng could feel his soul trembling. The true Emperor's aura of the extreme Dao was surging in from outside the Chaos Dragon Cauldron. Even the demonic runes of the extreme Dao could not stop it. However, at this moment, a terrifying aura came from the depths of the Chaos Dragon Cauldron, causing all living beings to tremble. A huge dragon shadow rushed out from the depths of the Chaos Dragon Cauldron. Boom! The Emperor's aura of the extreme Dao within the Chaos Dragon Cauldron erupted. Under the impact of the Emperor's aura of the mountain and river cauldron, the great Dao marks left behind by the Emperor's aura reacted. A chaotic dragon shadow appeared in the sky above the Chaos Dragon Cauldron, emitting an Emperor's aura of the extreme Dao. The entire savage world trembled as the two forces of the extreme Dao clashed. What's going on? Could it be that an Emperor of the extreme Dao has descended into this world? This is too terrifying. The entire world might be destroyed. All the experts in the savage world felt a shiver that came from the depths of their souls. If these two forces of the extreme Dao were to clash, the savage world would definitely be destroyed. The power of the extreme Dao could destroy the heavens and earth. This was not a legend. The power of the extreme Dao could suppress everything, surpassing the great Dao of the heavens and earth. Jiyu Fei sat cross-legged in the sky above the mountain and river cauldron, drawing the essence of the earth veins in all directions. The cauldron soul within the cauldron began to awaken. The Emperor's aura became even more vast and terrifying. Hand over the dragon scale, or I will erase the Chaos Dragon Cauldron from the face of this world. Jiyu Fei's voice pierced through the void, directly into the Chaos Dragon Cauldron. At this time, his Saint Tier incarnation and Heavenly Peng had already stopped fighting. You actually have such a thing? The ancient heavenly rock couldn't help but be shocked. He never expected the other party to have a supreme sacred weapon refined by an extreme Dao sovereign. Unfortunately, there was no supreme dragon sword of an extreme Dao True Dragon in the primal Chaos Dragon Cave that once gave birth to an extreme Dao True Dragon. Hand over the dragon scale, or else the people will be plunged into misery and suffering. In the Chaos Dragon Cave, Gu Fei's Saint Tier incarnation said this. Although the depths of the Chaos Dragon Cave also emitted an extreme power, compared to the mountain and river cauldron, this extreme power was like a child in front of an adult. The mountain and river cauldron released a terrifying power that could shake the entire universe, suppressing the 10,000-kilometer area around the chaotic dragon cauldron. Even the entire wild world was enveloped by the extreme Tao Emperor's might. At this moment, as long as Gu Fei was willing, he could use the mountain and river cauldron to break through this part of the world. What is this? Could it be that the legendary treasure has appeared? Right next to the area controlled by the demon race was a barren land that stretched as far as the eye could see. That place was shrouded in yin qi, and the entire area emitted an aura of death. In the depths of this land of death, there was a gloomy ancient city. At this moment, a ghostly voice rang out from the ancient city. The center of the wild world was a 100,000-kilometer area. It was occupied by three major forces: the demon race, the beast race, and the ghost race. Beast sovereign, demon sovereign, and ghost sovereign, the three invincible existences of the wildlands jointly controlled this area of 100,000 miles. All three of them wanted to break the extreme Tao Grand Formation outside the 9 nether yellow springs and obtain the gate of reincarnation inside. At this moment, the entire wild world was enveloped by the extreme Tao Emperor's might. The powerful existences in the ghost race didn't dare to act rashly. No one could withstand an attack from an extreme Tao saint weapon, not even a saint. After successfully drawing upon the power of the extreme Tao, no one in the wild world could contend against Gu Fei. You dare, Heavenly Peng still wanted to resist stubbornly, but he was no longer confident. Who wouldn't tremble in the face of a true extreme Tao saint weapon? In that case, I have nothing else to say. Gu Fei finished speaking and was about to make his move. The mountain and river cauldron vibrated and gathered the essence of the earth from all directions. The spiritual qi of the entire world frantically converged towards the mountain and river cauldron. In just a short while, the spiritual qi of the entire wild world had almost decreased by 1/10. The spiritual qi of the extreme Tao saint weapon was absolutely astonishing. Even if a saint used an extreme Tao saint weapon, his vitality would probably be greatly damaged. An extreme Tao divine might emanated from the mountain and river cauldron, suppressing the direction of the chaotic dragon cave. The entire ground sank. Although it was only a strand of extreme Tao Emperor's might, it still caused a great disturbance. The 10,000-meter tall dragon shadow that had evolved in the sky above the chaotic dragon cave trembled. The power of the extreme Tao true dragon was suppressed. In front of the mountain and river cauldron, this power was like a child. It couldn't protect the chaotic dragon cave and showed signs of being obliterated. Stop. The Heavenly Peng ancient demon knew that Yi Futian wasn't a merciful person. As long as he continued to persevere, the demon race of the wild world would really be destroyed in his hands. At the critical moment, the ancient demon had no choice but to bow down to Gu Fei in the end. At least you know what's good for you. In the chaotic dragon cave, Gu Fei's sage avatar revealed a cold smile. Then, under the lead of the Heavenly Peng ancient demon, they directly entered the depths of the chaotic dragon cave. At this time, Gu Fei's real body also stopped and was about to unleash a destructive attack. The mountain and river cauldron was shaking. Streams of primordial chaos qi had already risen into the air, but at this time, it entered the mountain and river cauldron again. However, before the dragon scale was in his hands, Gu Fei would definitely not withdraw the mountain and river cauldron. Once this deterrent power disappeared, the Heavenly Peng ancient demon would most likely turn hostile immediately. In the depths of the chaotic dragon cave, the extreme Tao dragon patterns appeared. This was a place where dragons rose and an extreme Tao true dragon had once been born. It was a heaven-defying place in this world. If not for the Heavenly Peng ancient demon's lead, Gu Fei's sage avatar wouldn't have been able to break through the seal of the extreme Tao dragon patterns and obtain the dragon scale protected by the extreme Tao dragon patterns. In the center of the countless extreme Tao dragon patterns, there was a mass of primordial chaos divine light. Within the divine light, there was a palm-sized dragon scale. An ancient and vast aura was emitted from the dragon scale. A dragon scale shed by an extreme Tao true dragon? The aura emitted from the dragon scale made even Jiyu Fei's sage avatar palpitate. If it was an ordinary cultivator, it would be impossible for them to get close to such a sacred object. Upon closer inspection, there were ancient and mysterious patterns within the mass of primordial chaos divine light that was wrapped around the dragon scale. An extreme Tao true dragon. Even a scale shed from its body was so mystical that it could be immortal. This made Jiyu Fei feel incredulous. After a moment of shock, Jiyu Fei didn't hesitate to direct the power of the mountain and river cauldron to sweep away the dragon scale protected by the dragon patterns. The heavenly Peng ancient demon's heart was bleeding as he watched from the side. This was the ultimate treasure of the chaotic dragon cave. On the extreme Tao dragon scale, there were great Tao dragon patterns branded by the extreme Tao true dragon. Comprehending such great Tao dragon patterns would be immeasurable for one's cultivation, especially for an existence like the heavenly Peng ancient demon, who had already stepped onto the path of becoming a sage. Many thanks. Jiyu Fei cupped his hands towards the heavenly Peng ancient demon. Then, he turned into a beam of divine light and rushed out from the depths of the chaotic dragon cave. He didn't kill them all. Roar. After Jiyu Fei left, an indignant roar could be heard from the depths of the chaos dragon cave. It was a great humiliation for the entire demon race of the desolate mountains to have someone kill their way to their doorstep and steal their supreme treasure. After Jiyu Fei obtained the dragon scale, his sage incarnation met up with his true body. Together, they drove the mountain and river cauldron into the depths of the earth. The extreme Tao Emperor's aura began to recede. Countless living beings in the desolate world heaved a sigh of relief. The extreme Tao Emperor's aura was too terrifying. It almost crushed the heavens and earth and shattered the world. It was as though doomsday had arrived. The aura of the extreme Tao was withdrawn. The mountain and river cauldron and the chaotic dragon cave gradually calmed down. No one dared to release their spiritual will to find the location of the mountain and river cauldron. Under the influence of the aura, the mountain and river cauldron could kill a sage with a single strike. In the depths of the earth, an ancient cauldron was floating. Inside the ancient cauldron was a boundless world. A piece of dragon scale was suppressed by the power of the mountain and river cauldron. Even so, the wisp of extreme Tao aura emanating from the dragon scale was difficult to completely isolate. The Tao pattern formed by the primordial chaos chi was firmly suppressed on the dragon scale. At this moment, Jiyu Fei had already put away his sage incarnation. He stood in front of the dragon scale and carefully examined the ancient patterns on it. A corner of the array pattern, Jiyu Fei discovered that 1/3 of the extreme Tao ancient array pattern on the dragon scale was the same kind of array pattern as the one on the black stone that he had obtained from the beast race. When the ancient array pattern on the dragon scale and the ancient array pattern on the black stone were combined, 2/3 of the extreme Tao ancient array could be formed. However, a corner of the array pattern was missing. Moreover, Jiyu Fei discovered that the missing corner of the extreme Tao ancient array pattern happened to be the most crucial array pattern of the extreme Tao ancient array. Without the core array pattern, everything would be full of variables. The extreme Tao ancient array was created by heaven and earth. No one could deduce the other missing array patterns from just a corner of the array pattern. Only by gathering that part of the array pattern would Jiyu Fei have the confidence to challenge the extreme Tao ancient array. Looks like I'll have to make a trip to the ghost region of the wild. Jiyu Fei couldn't help but frown. The ghost region of the wild was a land of death in the wild world. It was the gathering place of the dead spirits and was shrouded in a deathly aura. The ghost region of the wild world could be said to be the most mysterious place in the wild world. It was a place that even the beast race and demon race were unwilling to set foot in. There were incomparably powerful ghost emperors and evil corpses that could stand shoulder to shoulder with almighties. The expert who ruled this area was the ghost lord of the wild world, who could contend with the beast lord and demon lord of the wild world. Target equals _blank. Chapter 1455. The barbarian ghost lord was one of the most mysterious experts in the barbarian world. No one had ever seen his true appearance. Every time he appeared, A chilling wind would blow and a ghostly aura would surround him. However, the barbarian ghost lord's cultivation and strength were undeniable. The three unrivaled experts of the barbarian world had fought before, but none of them could suppress the other. The three major powers ruled over the barbarian world. The weaker races were all pushed aside, unable to get close to the center of the barbarian world. Ji Yufei already had 2/3 of the extreme Dao array diagram. As long as he could obtain the corner of the barbarian ghost lord's diagram, he would have the confidence to venture into the 9 nether springs. The 9 nether springs was a heaven-defying location. Legend has it that the 9 nether springs had already existed since the Age of Legends. No one knew how this place came to be. On this evening, Ji Yufei arrived at the outskirts of the barbarian ghost domain. He stood on top of a mountain and gazed into the distance. Tens of li away, the yin qi permeated the air. Even the afterglow of the setting sun couldn't shine through. Even though he was tens of li away, Ji Yufei could still feel the eerie aura rushing towards him. Such a vast aura of death, Ji Yufei's heart trembled. The area in front of him was shrouded by an aura of death. There was a trace of life coming from there. It was a land of death. What could have caused all this? Ji Yufei felt uneasy. The barbarian ghost domain was too strange. This place was probably even more terrifying than the primal chaos dragon cave and the ancient palace of savage beasts. However, he was only missing the corner of the array diagram in the Wildlands Ghost Lord's hand. It was impossible for Ji Yufei to refuse at this time. He had to obtain the corner of the array diagram in the Wildlands Ghost Lord's hand no matter what. Boom! A powerful saint-level aura suddenly erupted from the figure on the mountain peak. Ji Yufei shot up into the sky, and like an immortal emperor from the 9 heavens, he strode through the void. He took a step forward and vanished on the spot. In the next moment, he appeared a few hundred kilometers away. With just a single step, he had entered the savage ghost domain. 9 streaks of immortal Dao divine light swirled around Ji Yufei's body, scattering all of the surrounding yin energy and ghost mist, making it difficult for them to approach him. Ji Yufei was very cautious. He did not use his real body to descend into the ghost realm. This time, he still used his saint-level incarnation. Just as Ji Yufei entered the ghost domain and was about to go deeper, a black light rushed out from the depths of the ghost domain. A powerful death aura surged towards Ji Yufei from afar. Ji Yufei couldn't help but be stunned when he saw this. I've only just entered the ghost domain, yet I've already encountered a cultivator that cultivates the ghost Dao? Swoosh! The black light streaked across the sky like a black divine rainbow, streaking across the chaotic heaven and earth. Within the black light was a blurry ghostly silhouette that exuded a monstrous death aura. The black light was very fast. In just a few breaths' time, it had already arrived. This powerful cultivator that cultivated the ghost Dao was actually coming for Ji Yufei. Saint, halt! My clan's master has invited you. The black light came from afar and landed a few dozen meters away from Ji Yufei. When the black light dissipated, a black figure appeared in the sky. Under the saint-level aura that Ji Yufei had inadvertently released, the person's blurry ghostly silhouette trembled slightly. The powerful pressure almost made him kneel down. The ghost lord of the savage ghost domain? Ji Yufei couldn't help but be a little surprised. He didn't expect the master of the ghost clan to have already predicted his arrival and had sent someone to invite him. This cultivator's cultivation and strength were definitely at the top of the almighty level. However, before Ji Yufei, he didn't dare to be negligent and had to be cautious. The other party might be a saint, someone that could crush him to death with a single finger. In the Wildlands, aside from the 3 supremacies, no one dared to directly address them as such. However, Ji Yufei was an exception because he had the strength to look down on the 3 supremacies. In the cultivation world, nothing else mattered. The most important thing was to possess invincible strength. This was a world where the strong preyed on the weak. Whoever had the bigger fist was the boss. Lead the way, Ji Yufei said after some thought. He wasn't worried about the other party playing any tricks because he was confident that the Wildlands Ghost Lord wouldn't dare to do anything to him. The Wildlands Beast race and the Wildlands Demon race were a good example. The cultivator let out a sigh of relief when he saw that Ji Yufei had accepted the invitation. He then led the way and led Ji Yufei deeper into the Wildlands Ghost Realm. The Wildlands Ghost Realm was truly a land of death. Ji Yufei discovered that although there were many mountains inside, there weren't any signs of life on them. Moreover, skeletons could be seen scattered among the rocks in the mountains at any time. Among these skeletons, there were human cultivators, and there were also cultivators of foreign races. In short, there were more human skeletons than foreign cultivators. About 10,000 miles into the savage ghost domain, a pitch-black ancient city appeared on the horizon. It was a ghost city, and above the ancient city, there were ribbon-shaped dark clouds drifting. This, Ji Yufei didn't expect to see an ancient city in the Wildlands Ghost Realm. It was obvious that this ancient city had existed for countless years, giving off an ancient and boundless aura. The cultivator directly led Ji Yufei into the ancient city. To Ji Yufei's surprise, there were no undead creatures in the city. The ancient city was empty, but there was a tall building in the center of the city. This was the city lord's mansion. Ji Yufei could feel a powerful aura of death overflowing from the mansion. Quasi-saint, Ji Yufei's heart couldn't help but tremble after sensing this aura. There was actually a quasi-saint in the city lord's mansion. Although it wasn't the legendary ghost lord, it was still shocking enough. Hee. Honored guest, your presence brings light to my humble dwelling. A loud laugh came from the city lord's mansion. A tall figure came out from the mansion to welcome them. It was a man wearing a black dragon robe and a black crown. This man's gait was majestic like a dragon or a tiger, exuding the aura of an emperor, giving off a powerful oppressive feeling. It was as if he was the legendary king of hell. Naturally, the savage ghost lord was the only ghost Dao powerhouse with such a bearing. Ghost Emperor? After seeing the Wildlands Ghost Lord, Ji Yufei couldn't help but recall the invincible Ghost Emperor in the mortal world. That was a peerless expert that looked down on the 9 heavens and 10 earths. The cultivator who led Ji Yufei here bowed to the Ghost Lord and left. Under the guidance of the Wildlands Ghost Lord, Ji Yufei entered the City Lord's mansion in the Ghost City below. The entire Ghost City was filled with a strange atmosphere. It seemed like there were only 2 people in the Ghost City, Ji Yufei and the Ghost Lord. To see the first episode without advertisements, please go to please share target =_blank. Chapter 1456. The Ghost Lord of Desolation was a quasi-sage expert of the Ghost Dao. His temperament was somewhat similar to the Ghost Emperor of the mortal world, causing Ji Yufei to recall the Ghost Emperor. Ghost Emperor Fengdu was an unparalleled powerhouse. Even now, Ji Yufei still had a hard time figuring out just how high his cultivation and strength had reached. Was the Ghost Emperor a quasi-sage? Or had it surpassed the quasi-sage realm? No one knew, but Ji Yufei knew that the Ghost Emperor of the mortal world was definitely stronger than this Ghost Lord. I didn't expect Dao Friend to obtain such a clone. This is truly a fortune. The Ghost Lord's eyes were like torches. The moment he saw Ji Yufei, he knew that this expert emitting a sage aura was not a real sage, but a clone. Even so, Ji Yufei's immortal saint physique still caused the Ghost Lord to feel a great pressure. After all, this was a sage-level clone. You flatter me. Ji Yufei was expressionless. The current him was not afraid of the Ghost Lord. Moreover, since he dared to enter this city of death, he was already prepared for the worst. I have already guessed Dao Friend's purpose for coming here. I should have taken the corner of the diagram, but unfortunately, even I can't take it. The Ghost Lord said. Oh! Ji Yufei couldn't help but be startled when he heard this. What did the savage Ghost Lord mean? Could it be that he didn't have that corner of the diagram? How was that possible? He had already found out that the Ghost Lord did have that corner of the diagram. Could it be that the Ghost Lord didn't want to hand it over? If that was the case, then he had no choice but to take action. Hee. Dao Friend, please don't misunderstand. The Ghost Lord quickly said. He didn't want to offend this god of death. He already knew what happened between the beast race and the demon race. Ji Yufei slaughtered in all directions, forcing the beast race and demon race to lower their heads. Such a battle record was absolutely world-shaking. The Ghost Lord knew that with his current cultivation and strength, he wouldn't be able to achieve such a feat if he could suppress the Demon Lord and the Beast Lord. He, the Wildland Ghost Lord, would have long since unified the Wildland world. He wouldn't have to fight against the Demon race and the Beast race. What do you mean? Ji Fei was a little displeased. This Wildland's Ghost Lord was not straightforward with his words. This corner of the ancient formation pattern is a little different. The Wildland's Ghost Lord said. He seemed to not know what to say, and his words were somewhat hesitant. Different. Hearing this, Ji Fei could not help but be curious. Could it be that this corner of the ancient formation pattern was different from the ancient formation patterns mastered by the Beast Clan and the Demon Clan? If it wasn't the same kind of array pattern, it would be bad. Even if Ji Fei had grasped 2/3 of the Extreme Dao Ancient Formation runes, he still wouldn't dare to challenge the Extreme Dao Ancient Formation runes. I know that fellow Daoist wishes to gather the 3 ancient diagrams and then venture into the 9 Hells Springs. However, the diagrams I have here are not imprinted on immortal materials, said the Wildland's Ghost Lord. Why do you say that? Ji Fei was even more curious. In this world, only immortal materials could be used as carriers of the Great Tao. Other materials did not have this characteristic. When fellow Daoist entered the city, did you feel that there was something different about this ancient city? The Wildland's Ghost Lord said unhurriedly. Hearing this, Ji Fei's eyes gradually lit up. He seemed to have thought of something, and his expression changed slightly. He could no longer maintain his calm. That formation pattern is actually... A look of disbelief appeared on Ji Fei's face. How was this possible? How could a corner of the ancient formation pattern transform into such a state? It was too unbelievable. It seems that you have already guessed it. That's right, the ancient city we are in is that corner of the ancient formation pattern, said the Wildland's Ghost Lord. Although Ji Fei had already guessed it, he was still shocked after hearing the Wildland's Ghost Lord's words. A corner of the ancient formation pattern had actually transformed into an ancient city. When Ji Fei found out that he was actually sitting in a corner of the ancient formation pattern, his expression couldn't help but change. If the Wildland's Ghost Lord activated the ancient formation pattern, even a sage would be killed. Fellow Daoist doesn't need to be nervous. This corner of the ancient formation pattern has been silent for countless years. No one has been able to activate it, said the Wildland's Ghost Lord with a smile. Hearing the Wildland's Ghost Lord's words, Ji Fei secretly heaved a sigh of relief. With fellow Daoist strength, it is as easy as flipping your hand to take this corner of the ancient formation pattern. After this is done, I hope that fellow Daoist can borrow the legendary Gate of Reincarnation. The Wildland's Ghost Lord stated his purpose. He treated Ji Fei as a distinguished guest because of a promise from Ji Fei. He wanted to borrow the Gate of Reincarnation. Ji Fei naturally knew why the Wildland's Ghost Lord wanted to borrow the Gate of Reincarnation. No one would be willing to be trapped in a world like this for the rest of their lives. Although the Wildland's world was vast, it was not a truly perfect world. A character like the Wildland's Ghost Lord naturally desired to go to a vaster world to fulfill his ambitions. In the end, the Wildland's Ghost Lord left, leaving only Ji Fei sitting in the Ghost Town's City Lord Mansion. No wonder there are no ghost race experts in such a huge ancient city. Ji Fei muttered to himself. It seemed like this ancient city was formed by a corner of the ancient formation pattern. Lord, are we just going to hand over the supreme treasure that our race is guarding just like this? On a mountain 1,000 miles away from the ghost town, there was a palace. At this time, the Wildland's Ghost Lord was conversing with a ghost general. Let this human expert fight with those 2 old fellows first. The Wildland's Ghost Lord's tone was incomparably calm. Lord is wise, this subordinate admires, the ghost general said. Those 2 old fellows think that they can enter that place just because they have the ancient formation pattern. In their dreams, the Wildland's Ghost Lord's eyes flashed with a faint light. Then, the Wildland's Ghost Lord took a deep look at the ghost town 1,000 miles away, then turned around and entered the palace behind him, never to come out again. So it turns out that Lord wants to be the fisherman. Let this human expert fight with those two old fellows until both sides are injured before making a move, the Ghost General muttered to himself. Then, he also entered the palace on the mountain peak. Just as the Wildlands Ghost Lord and the Ghost General entered the palace at the peak of the mountain, a figure walked out from a dark corner of the mountain. These guys, none of them are good, all of them have turned into spirits. This person's eyes flickered, his expression was incomparably solemn. His entire body seemed to have fused with the surrounding void. Even the powerful Wildlands Ghost Lord couldn't sense his arrival. This mysterious person was the real body of Gu Fei. He followed his own saint-grade incarnation here, then took advantage of the time when the Wildlands Ghost Lord and his saint-grade incarnation were discussing in the ghost town to silently sneak into the Wildlands Ghost Lord's lair. As a result, he just happened to hear the conversation between the Wildlands Ghost Lord and the Ghost General. To see the first episode without advertisements, please go to target=_blank. Chapter 1457. The reason why the Wildland Ghost Lord handed over the corner of the ancient diagram so easily was because he wanted to be the Oriole behind. The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the Oriole behind. He wanted Gu Fei to fight until both sides suffered heavy losses before he acted. After Gu Fei's true body understood the Wildland Ghost Lord's intention, he couldn't help but feel murderous. This guy actually wanted to scheme against him. His true body had disappeared, he didn't enter the ghost town. He had no choice but to be careful. He didn't reveal his true body, only his incarnation. The entire ghost town was formed from a corner of the ancient diagram. Gu Fei's saint incarnation sat in the city lord's mansion. The more he thought about it, the more shocked he became. This matter was too unimaginable. He had never thought that this would be the result. The corner of the ancient diagram that the beast race and demon race mastered was imprinted on immortal divine materials. However, the most important corner of the ancient diagram had turned into an ancient city. How could he collect this corner of the ancient diagram? This was a difficult problem. Even the quasi-saint barbarian Ghost Lord couldn't collect this corner of the ancient diagram. Gu Fei had no clue. Using the mountain and river cauldron didn't seem to work. The mountain and river cauldron wasn't something that could be easily used. The commotion caused by using it was too great. Eventually, an ancient cauldron rushed out from Gu Fei's body and landed in his hand. This fist-sized ancient cauldron exuded an aura of endless vicissitudes. Primordial primal chaos chi surged within the cauldron. There seemed to be a world evolving within it. This tiny ancient cauldron seemed to be able to swallow the entire world. Gu Fei very carefully controlled the mountain and river cauldron. A black stone flew out from the mountain and river cauldron and landed on the ground with a peng. The entire ghost town shook from the impact. This black stone was the one Gu Fei obtained from the beast race's ancient palace. Although this stone wasn't huge, its weight was shocking. Back when Gu Fei collected the black stone, he had used his full strength and even used one of the 9 secrets of the immortal Tao, the Ascension secret art, to succeed. The power of the sacred incarnation was naturally much greater than that of Gu Fei's true body when he used one of the 9 secrets of the immortal Tao, the Heaven Ascension secret art. He could easily collect the stone. The black rock stood erect on the ground. Although it wasn't huge, it gave off the feeling of a mountain. No one would believe that such an inconspicuous black rock was an immortal godly material. Even now, Gu Fei couldn't figure out what kind of undying divine material this was. Undying divine materials carried divinity and contained undying great Tao fragments. These were the characteristics of undying divine materials. This black stone was very ordinary. It did not emit any divinity, and the aura of the great Tao could not be sensed. However, there was a corner of an extreme Tao ancient formation engraved on it. At this time, Gu Fei discovered that the originally silent black stone was giving off wisps of strange energy. The corner of the ancient spirit diagram imprinted on it was actually showing signs of awakening. Seeing this scene, Gu Fei's heart couldn't help but tremble. Could it be that these 3 parts of the extreme Tao ancient formation could sense each other? Blurry formation runes faintly appeared on the black stone like tiny ancestral dragons. They swam on the surface of the black stone, appearing and disappearing from time to time. Rumble. The entire ghost town was also shaking. A strange aura emitted from the ghost town, resonating with the aura emitted by the black stone. At this time, Jiu Fei no longer had any doubts. The corner of the ancient spirit diagram on the black stone was indeed resonating with the ghost town. When the two met, some kind of change immediately occurred. Jiu Fei was both surprised and overjoyed. The mountain and river cauldron in his hand flew up and floated above his head. Streams of primordial chaos aura descended from the cauldron like a giant dragon, protecting him. He used the mountain and river cauldron to protect himself, then took out the dragon scale suppressed inside the mountain and river cauldron. Buzz! The moment the dragon scale flew out from the mountain and river cauldron, the entire ancient city shook. The void let out a rumbling sound, and ancient formation runes appeared on the surface of the ancient city. As expected, Jiu Fei was overjoyed. The silent extreme Dao ancient formation, after the appearance of the black stone and the dragon scale, immediately woke up. Ancient formation runes were imprinted on every inch of the ancient city. The entire ghost town seemed to have a life of its own, as if it had come alive. This wasn't a corner of the extreme Dao ancient formation that had transformed into an ancient city, but the entire ancient city was imprinted with countless ancient formation runes. The ancient city and the ancient formation runes had fused together. Could it be? Jiu Fei's heart shook. He thought of a possibility. This ghost town wasn't refined with immortal materials, but it could bear the extreme Dao ancient formation runes. An ancient city refined by an extreme ancient supreme being? Jiu Fei was stunned by this conjecture. It seemed like only an extreme Dao sacred city refined by an extreme Dao sovereign would have such a miracle that could bear the extreme Dao ancient formation runes. At this time, the ancient city, the black stone, and the dragon scale were all trembling, releasing strands of extreme Dao aura that shook the myriad of worlds. What? The barbarian ghost lord was startled. Countless experts of the ghost race jumped out of nowhere. Strands of extreme Dao aura were emitted from the ancient city, causing all the ghost cultivators in the area to tremble. This was a fear that originated from the depths of their souls. The power of extreme Dao could suppress everything. Even the great Dao of the heavens and earth would be trampled under the feet of an extreme Dao sovereign. Rumble. The entire ghost town was trembling. Countless formation runes appeared. Rays of light flickered in the city like rainbows. The huge ghost town seemed like it was going to rise from the ground. The barbarian ghost lord was stunned by this scene. Even though he was a quasi-sage, the aura emitted from the extreme Dao ghost lord made him unable to straighten his back. Initially, he wanted to scheme against Jiu Fei. But now, it seemed like he was the one scheming against who. Inside the ghost town's Castellan mansion, the dragon scale and the black stone were emitting a resplendent divine light. A corner of a formation rune emerged from each of the two items. The extreme Dao ancient town rune was divided into 3 parts. At this time, the 3 parts of the extreme Dao ancient town rune gathered together and resonated with each other. The ancient town rune actually showed signs of reforming. Jiu Fei sat cross-legged below the mountain and river cauldron, using it to protect himself. Although countless ancient formation runes appeared in the surroundings, interweaving with the power of extreme Dao, the mountain and river cauldron suppressed the void, causing the void around Jiu Fei to form its own heaven and earth. Even the power of extreme Dao ancient town was blocked. He carefully observed the evolution of the extreme Dao ancient town rune. The corner rune on the dragon scale imprinted itself in the void, and the corner rune on the black stone was also imprinted. The 2 corner runes were fusing together. Then, the 3rd corner rune condensed. This was no longer a single corner rune. The 3rd corner rune was much more than the runes on the dragon scale and the black stone combined. This was the core rune of the extreme Dao ancient town rune. It was imprinted on the body of this ancient town and fused with it. No wonder the barbarian ghost lord said that this ghost town was formed from that corner rune. The 3rd corner rune condensed in the void. The complete Extreme Tao Ancient Town rune appeared in front of Jiyu Fei and was imprinted into his mind. The Extreme Tao Ancient Town rune seized the fortune of the heaven and earth. Although Jiyu Fei could see the complete Extreme Tao Ancient Town rune, he couldn't comprehend the essence of the Extreme Tao Ancient Town rune. This complete Extreme Tao Ancient Town rune could evolve into the perfect Grand Tao of Extreme Supremes. If Jiyu Fei could comprehend it, he would become an Extreme Tao sovereign. Rumble. The entire ancient town emitted monstrous waves of energy. After that, it actually rose from the ground and gradually rose into the sky, illuminating the entire savage ghost domain. The endless yin fog was dispersed, and the stars in the sky appeared, sprinkling down rays of starlight. The yin fog had enveloped the savage ghost domain for countless years. For a starry sky to appear in the savage ghost domain was a miraculous phenomenon. Is it the ghost race's turn to be unlucky now? In the air above the Chaos Dragon Cavern, a figure stood in the void, staring in the direction of the savage ghost domain. A demonic light flickered in his eyes. That person wants to unify the savage world. In the holy land of the savage demon race, from the ancient royal palace at the peak of the royal mountain, such a voice rang out. Such an expert has appeared in the human race. Is the human race going to prosper? The experts of the various races of the savage world were speculating. Jiyu Fei's achievements had long spread throughout the savage world. The human race of the savage world could finally hold their heads up high. The aura of the extreme Tao emitted from the savage ghost domain shocked the experts of the entire savage world. They had already guessed that the expert of the human race who swept away the beasts and demons was now making a move against the ghost race. However, no one dared to go and watch the battle. In a battle of this level, even a ray of divine light could kill a supreme existence. The ancient city that shone with divine light gradually rose high into the sky. The entire ancient city gave off an unimaginably powerful pressure, as if a supreme being had awakened in the city. Even the supreme existence of the ghost domain, the savage ghost lord, was kneeling on the ground. Before the power of the extreme Tao, even a sage was an ant, let alone a quasi-sage. The huge ancient city was like an immemorial divine mountain, pressing down on everyone's hearts. The huge city was shaking. Then, the huge city actually shrank. Formation runes swirled around the city as it transformed. This transformation caused all the ghost cultivators to be incomparably shocked. How could this be? This was especially true for the savage ghost lord. He had long wanted to take this ancient city, but he had tried countless methods to no avail. Now, he actually helped someone else. The savage ghost lord was filled with regret. He had never thought that Jiyu Fei would really be able to take this ancient city. This time, he had truly suffered a double loss. Half an hour later, Jiyu Fei's figure rushed out from the ancient city. At this time, the entire ancient city had shrunk to only a few hundred zhong in size. After Jiyu Fei rushed out from the city, the ancient city rapidly shrunk to the size of a fist. Then, Jiyu Fei grabbed it in his hand. To see the first advertisement, please go to. Please share. Target =_blank. Chapter 1458. Jiyu Fei took the immortal sacred city with the extreme Tao runes imprinted on it. The aura of the extreme Tao faded away, and everyone in the desolate world heaved a sigh of relief. Nothing terrible happened. In the end, Jiyu Fei left the desolate ghost domain. He found a beautiful mountain valley nearby and went to study the extreme Tao ancient diagram. One couldn't be careless when trying to challenge the extreme Tao ancient diagram. If one made a single mistake, they would be consigned to eternal damnation and die. The desolate ghost lord's heart was bleeding. The treasure of the ghost race had been taken away. It was too late for regrets. He didn't want to provoke Jiyu Fei. 9 Nether Yellow Springs. For several days, Jiyu Fei continued to study the extreme Tao ancient diagram. However, he discovered that no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't find the life gate within the extreme Tao ancient diagram. It was as if the person who laid down this extreme Tao ancient diagram didn't want anyone to challenge it. The fact that there was no life gate within the extreme Tao ancient diagram was most likely a form of deterrence. Who would dare to challenge an extreme Tao ancient diagram without a life gate? If he charged in, he would definitely die, because this was a death trap. Looks like I have to wait for He Tian to come out of seclusion. In the end, Jiyu Fei gave up. With his formation skills, it was impossible for him to deduce anything. After all, this was an extreme Dao ancient diagram. Perhaps only He Tian would be able to see through it. Thus, Jiyu Fei temporarily settled down in the mountain valley and waited for He Tian to come out. The desolate world once again calmed down. However, this was only on the surface. Undercurrents continued to surge in the desolate world. Jiyu Fei's domineering attack had broken the balance of power in the desolate world. The human race was showing signs of rising. Some powerful human cultivators began to search for Jiyu Fei. Some wanted to make Jiyu Fei the ruler of the desolate world and lead the human race to fight against the other major powers. However, the few great inheritances of the human race were still watching. The Yi clan and the Li clan didn't say anything. Many humans followed the Yi clan and the Li clan. Among the human race, the ones who wanted Jiyu Fei to lead the human race the most were the rogue cultivators. I didn't expect him to be this powerful. Yi Wuji drank a cup of strong alcohol in a pavilion in one of the villas of the Yi family. Afterwards, he smashed the cup heavily onto the table. There was some helplessness and unwillingness on his face. He had fought Jiyu Fei before, but never in his wildest dreams did he imagine that Jiyu Fei possessed the strength and cultivation base to dominate the 3 strongest tribes in the wildlands. I'm no match for him. Yi Wuji had to admit that he definitely did not have such cultivation and strength. There were rumors that even the savage Ghost Lord had been defeated by Jiyu Fei. The Wildlands Ghost Lord was a quasi-sage existence. In the Wildlands, such an existence was already an invincible paragon. If even such a person was defeated, how could he? Yi Wuji was very disappointed and drank by himself in the pavilion. Big brother, you are the future of our Yi clan. How can you be so dispirited? A pleasant voice came from the gravel path outside the pavilion. This voice was clear and melodious. It was very penetrating, causing Yi Wuji's heart to tremble. Yi Wuji didn't say anything. At this moment, a yellow-clothed woman walked over from the gravel path and directly entered the pavilion. She then sat down opposite Yi Wuji. This was a woman who possessed the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. She was elegant and otherworldly, as if she was a fairy from the 9 heavens. Could that person have 3 heads and 6 arms? To be able to sweep through the 3 great tribes of the wildlands, I, Yi Wu, would really like to meet such a person. When the yellow-clothed woman saw how depressed Yi Wuji was, her large eyes, which were filled with spirit energy, couldn't help but shine with a divine light. She was very curious as to what kind of person could make her big brother lose his will to fight like this. In the valley, Jiyu Fei suddenly sneezed. Could it be that someone is speaking ill of me behind my back? Jiyu Fei smiled bitterly and shook his head, throwing this thought away. Then he thought of another matter. He Tian still hadn't come out of seclusion. Although it wasn't easy to reconstruct his body, He Tian could use the divine spring of life and the drop of ancestral dragon undying liquid to regenerate his flesh. It had already been more than 10 days, but that guy still hadn't made a move. Jiyu Fei wasn't in a hurry. He Tian was definitely indispensable in breaking through the extreme ancient formation. With He Tian's Grandmaster level formation attainment, he would definitely be a great help when breaking through the extreme ancient formation. Thus, Jiyu Fei stayed in the valley, waiting for He Tian to come out of seclusion before making his plans. At this time, there were fights happening outside from time to time. The demon race, the beast race, and the ghost race had all been taught a lesson by Jiyu Fei. When the people of the 3 strongest races met the people of the human race, it was inevitable that there would be some friction. Of course, the 3 strongest races of the barbarian land didn't dare to go too far. If they provoked the god of slaughter of the human race, it would be disastrous. Swoosh! In a mountain somewhere in the barbarian land, a sword light flashed and disappeared. A miserable scream was heard from the mountain, and then a figure in yellow walked out of the mountain. This person was holding the head of a ferocious flood dragon in her hand. The flood dragon's blood was still flowing out of the wound. It was obvious that this woman in yellow had just killed this flood dragon. She could easily kill an almighty flood dragon. The cultivation and strength of this woman in yellow could be considered amazing. You dare to provoke me? Consider yourself unlucky. The yellow-clothed woman's hand shook, and the dragon's head she was holding immediately turned into a bloody mist. A golden bead flew out, and the yellow-clothed woman grabbed it. This was a flood dragon's bead. It contained the essence of a flood dragon. If it was refined and used, it might be possible to refine a powerful magic treasure. Swoosh! After putting away the flood dragon's bead, the woman in yellow turned into a sword light and soared into the sky. In the blink of an eye, she disappeared without a trace. The sword light was extremely fast. Fights broke out everywhere in the barbarian land. The experts of the human race that had been hiding for a long time kept jumping out. This seriously threatened the ruling position of the three great races of the barbarian land. In particular, the impact of Gu Fei sweeping through the three great races was absolutely unprecedented. Just as the storm was about to arrive in the barbarian land, Gu Fei seemed to have disappeared. He never appeared again. Several months passed, and no one saw this human expert again. At this time, Gu Fei was in a valley, quietly waiting for He Tian to come out of seclusion. At the same time, he was still studying the map of the ancient extreme town. He discovered that the three great immortal treasures each had their own unique characteristics. The ancient immortal city could expand or shrink. It could suck people into the city and suppress them. The dragon scale obtained from the primal chaos dragon cave not only had an ancient formation imprinted on it, but it also had a trace of a true dragon's remnant will. This was a different kind of inheritance, but Gu Fei did not need it. However, he could give this dragon scale to Xiaoqing because Xiaoqing walked the path of a true dragon. As for the black stone, although it looked ordinary, if it was used to smash someone, it could even injure a sage. Even a quasi-sage would be in mortal danger. Unknowingly, he had already stayed in this valley for 3 months. He Tian did not seem to have any intention of coming out of seclusion. This surprised Gu Fei. What's wrong with this guy? With that drop of ancestral dragon undying liquid, he wouldn't need to spend so much time reconstructing his physical body. Gu Fei did not want to wait any longer. He opened his inner world and entered it. The moment Gu Fei entered his inner world, he felt an incomparably powerful aura surging out from the depths of this world. The boundless spiritual energy of the entire world was fluctuating, as if there was a supreme existence swallowing and spitting out the spiritual energy of the entire world. The spiritual energy of the entire world was being drawn. This He Tian, Gu Fei was shocked when he sensed this aura. When did this guy's cultivation become so strong? He was actually absorbing the energy of this world. He took a step forward and instantly arrived at the depths of this world. The spiritual energy there was so dense that it was almost liquefied. Rays of spiritual light and immortal clouds could be seen with the naked eye. It was a colorful ocean that was completely condensed from the spiritual energy of the world. At the center of the ocean sat a naked figure. Gu Fei used his martial path heavenly eye and looked into the ocean formed by spiritual energy. The figure was He Tian. At this moment, He Tian's eyes were closed and his entire body was absorbing the spiritual energy of this world. Every part of He Tian's body was flickering with spiritual light. Not even a single strand of his hair seemed to have been transformed into a god. This guy, Gu Fei, didn't expect that He Tian's body reconstruction would cause such a huge commotion. Was he trying to refine his body into a sacred weapon? The power of yin and yang intertwined on He Tian's body. A yin-yang diagram appeared on his body. Inside his body, formation runes appeared indistinctly. Every meridian and bone in He Tian's body seemed to contain some kind of power, as if they had turned into a corner formation rune. There was a hidden power in his body that even Gu Fei was moved. Gu Fei knew that He Tian only cultivated the power of yin and yang. Shifting yin and yang, reversing the universe, the current He Tian seemed to be seizing the fortune of heaven and earth. Could it be that the drop of immortal ancestral dragon herb had given him such a great opportunity? The immortal ancestral dragon herb was a true immortal divine herb. The reason why the immortal herb could not die was that it contained a fragment of the great path, which could make one achieve eternity. Jiu Fei had once asked the immortal ancestral dragon herb for a drop of immortal liquid for He Tian. That drop of immortal liquid definitely contained a fragment of the Great Path. A fragment of the Great Path could allow one to comprehend the Tao. Was He Tian that lucky? Was he actually comprehending the Tao? Ancient formation runes kept appearing on He Tian's body. Jiu Fei felt that it was no longer as simple as formation runes. It seemed to have evolved into a divine prostitute of the Great Path, with the aura of the Great Path. Jiu Fei knew that if He Tian succeeded, his cultivation would probably take a leap. Even Jiu Fei couldn't guess how far he could go. Target =_blank. Chapter 1459. Inside Jiu Fei's inner world, He Tian used the spiritual energy of the entire world to refine his reconstructed body. An aura of the great Tao spread out from his body. The drop of immortal medicinal liquid from the immortal ancestral dragon herb was taking effect. The great Tao fragments within the liquid were emitting traces of Tao rhythm. He Tian was comprehending the great Tao. In the depths of Jiu Fei's inner world, rays of light shone brightly. The spiritual light enveloped the entire area, turning it into a sea of spiritual energy. In this world, there was no place with denser spiritual energy than this. It should be noted that there was more than one divine spring of life in this part of the world. The spiritual energy in this part of the world was vast and boundless, and it was the source of Jiu Fei's strength. Although He Tian had consumed a large amount of spiritual energy to reconstruct his body, it was only a drop in the ocean. At this moment, He Tian was like a supreme god who created the world. His naked body was covered in yin and yang Tao patterns. He cultivated only one kind of power, and he walked the great Tao of yin and yang. Since ancient times, there had been many people who cultivated only one kind of power to become a sage. Some even became an extreme Tao supremacy. Jiu Fei did not disturb He Tian. At this time, He Tian had encountered a great opportunity. If he comprehended the great Tao, it was hard to say how far his cultivation would go. He exited the inner world and continued to study the extreme Tao ancient array in the valley. At this time, the turmoil outside the valley seemed to be getting more and more intense. The experts of the three major races of the wildlands saw that Jiu Fei had not appeared in the past few months, so they gradually became unscrupulous. The humans of the wildlands thought that the human race could rise again. However, when the three major races of the wildlands began to counterattack, very few people could withstand the butcher's knife of the three major races. Boom! A monstrous demonic aura suddenly descended on a human settlement. A barbaric bull the size of a mountain smashed down from the sky, and the village was instantly destroyed. The huge village was crushed by the bull in an instant, leaving nothing behind. The barbaric bull roared, causing the entire region to tremble. This was a barbaric bull emperor, and was incomparably powerful. However, this powerful demon emperor was actually attacking some weak humans. This went against common sense. Under normal circumstances, a powerful demon emperor would never even spare a glance at a human who was as weak as an ant. However, things had changed now. Shouts and cries could be heard from all directions. Some human beings were not killed on the spot, but those who survived immediately fled for their lives in all directions. However, all their struggles were futile in front of a demon emperor. Who? The demon emperor opened his mouth and sucked in all directions. The fleeing humans were immediately sucked back by a heaven-devouring force and swallowed into the demon emperor's stomach. Among those humans, there were even women with babies in their arms and elderly people. These were all defenseless, innocent villagers who had no power to resist at all. Roar! A furious roar resounded as a human expert rushed out from a mountain beside the village. Where did this bull demon come from? How dare you slaughter my clansmen? The newcomer's body flickered with immortal light as he strode through the void. Before he even arrived, he spat out an immortal sword that pierced towards the barbaric bull emperor. You're courting death. The barbaric bull emperor directly soared into the sky and rammed his huge bull head towards the immortal sword, completely ignoring the sharp sword chi emitted from the immortal sword. Bang! The bull's head collided with the immortal sword. The immortal sword that emitted sharp sword chi actually shattered into countless pieces, and the fragments shot out in all directions. Some of the fragments even shot back towards the human expert. What? The human expert was truly shocked. However, before he could recover from his shock, the mountain-like barbaric bull emperor had already charged over. Bang! The barbaric bull emperor rapidly crushed the human expert like a mountain. The human expert was smashed to pieces on the spot, and even his yuanshan was shattered by the force of the collision. A human clan powerhouse with decent cultivation was killed so easily. His body and soul were both destroyed. The human race is only SOSO. The barbaric bull emperor didn't stop and directly went to the next human settlement. The humiliation of the demon race must be washed away with the blood of the human race. The three major tribes of the wildlands began to purge the human race. Several months passed. Some monster race powerhouses guessed that the human must have gathered the complete ancient extreme Dao town map and had already broken into the source of this world. There was an ancient extreme town formation guarding that place. Even a true sage would die if he entered. In another region, in another human settlement, a wild beast was bathed in human blood. The entire human settlement seemed to have turned into hell. There was blood everywhere, and broken bones and flesh were everywhere. Kill. More than a dozen humans with decent cultivation surrounded the wild beast and fought. Each of them was stained with blood, and some even had their arms torn off, but they were still fighting. This was a wild beast shaped like a tyrannosaurus. It was only 1 or 2 feet taller than an adult, but it was extremely fierce. Its bloody mouth was chewing on a human arm. Clang! A big man slashed at the neck of the tyrannosaurus with all his strength, but the divine saber in his hand couldn't break the thick layer of scales on the body of the tyrannosaurus. Sparks flew everywhere. What? The burly man flew backwards. He saw that there were actually a few nicks on the blade of the divine saber. This caused the burly man to be extremely shocked. The big man was distracted, and the tyrannosaurus instantly pounced in front of him. The tyrannosaurus clawed at the big man's chest, dug out his heart, and stuffed it into its mouth. The heart of a human expert is still as delicious as before. The tyrannosaurus chewed on the heart while attacking. Although the big man's heart was dug out by the tyrannosaurus, he didn't die. He used all his strength and slashed at the tyrannosaurus 7 or 8 times, but still couldn't break the layer of scales on the body of the tyrannosaurus. In the end, the top of the big man's head was torn by the tyrannosaurus, and his origin spirit was destroyed. Then, he fell into a pool of blood and died. The human experts were killed one after another, and the tyrannosaurus seemed to be playing with them. No matter how brave and fierce the human experts were, they couldn't hurt the tyrannosaurus in the slightest. A human expert even self-detonated, but the tyrannosaurus was only able to make the tyrannosaurus take a few steps back. The tyrannosaurus was too strong, and its body was even stronger than an emperor divine weapon. This was a great battle without any suspense. More than a dozen human experts died in battle, but no one retreated. Even when there was only one person left, he still rushed towards the tyrannosaurus with a murderous aura. They didn't care about life or death, they just wanted to protect the human race from being invaded by foreign enemies. This was a shocking scene. Although they couldn't stop the tyrannosaurus, they did their best. They were heroes. Although they had fallen, they displayed the unyielding will of the human race. Another human settlement was massacred, and not a single human could escape. Such bloody incidents were happening everywhere in the wildlands. However, every human settlement was guarded by human experts. Although the 3 major tribes of the wildlands were powerful, there were still casualties. In front of an ancient city of the human race, a huge man who looked like a black iron tower drew his bow and shot down 3 golden birds that looked like golden crows. The human race also had experts who could contend against the experts of the demon race and the beast race. However, the human race didn't have a peerless expert at the level of a quasi-saint to intimidate the other tribes. On the other hand, the patriarchs of the 3 major tribes of the wildlands were all at the quasi-saint level. Without a deterrent force, the human race lost some confidence. However, Jiyu Fei's sudden appearance had given hope to the wildlands human race. However, that hope was fading away. That was because the human race's expert that had suppressed the three great clans of the wildlands seemed to have disappeared, as if he had only appeared for a brief moment. No one knew where he came from, and no one knew if he would appear again. Half a year had passed, and there were still massacres happening in the wildlands. The human settlements were constantly being attacked by the experts of the wildlands demon race and the wildlands beast race. The human race experts also began to fight back. Human experts also appeared in the territories of the demon race and beast race. The stench of blood was very thick in the wildlands. In the past half a year, the human race was at a disadvantage. Nearly 1,000 human settlements scattered throughout the wildlands were razed to the ground. The human race suffered countless casualties. On this day, the beast race and demon race joined hands to seal off an ancient city of the human race. Yi City, the home of one of the major tribes of the human race, the Yi clan. This was a large city with a population of over 1 million. Such an ancient city was rare in the wildlands. Outside the ancient city, ancient chariots stopped in the sky. Beasts roared at the sky, their killing intent soaring. The demon race and beast race had sealed off the entire area. The Yi clan was an ancient clan of the human race in the wildlands. According to legend, the ancestor of this clan was an invincible god. However, with the passage of time, the Yi clan had gradually declined. However, a starving camel was still bigger than a horse. Even though the Yi clan had declined, they still possessed a deep foundation that caused the other major tribes of the wildlands to fear. The ancient inheritance of the human race was the reason why the three major tribes of the wildlands didn't dare to act rashly. However, things were different now. The three major tribes of the wildlands felt threatened by the human race. Humans inside, come out and accept your death. Otherwise, you will be tortured. An old demon with white hair and beard stepped out from the crowd and transmitted his voice to the ancient city. At this time, the defensive formation of the ancient city was activated. A faintly discernible layer of divine light enveloped the entire city. Bullshit. An old man rushed out from the ancient city. This old man's shout caused the void to tremble. Although the old man was old, his blood and chi were extremely vigorous. The old demon's eyes couldn't help but narrow when he saw this old man. This human old man was an almighty. Moreover, he was a rare expert among the almighties. The old man was extremely ferocious. He actually rushed out from the near-transparent divine light and directly attacked the old demon. Boom! A huge hand appeared in the void, emitting a terrifying fluctuation that caused one's heart to palpitate. The void trembled as if it would shatter at any time. Target =_blank. Chapter 1460. The ancient city of the human race, where the Yi clan was located, was filled with murderous aura. Countless beasts and great demons surrounded the ancient city. Experts of the demon race and the beast race worked together to seal off the entire area. Huge banners with towering demonic aura were planted around the ancient city, activating the power of heaven and earth to seal the ancient city. There were millions of humans in the city. If the demon race and the beast race worked together to break through, it would be a great calamity for the human race. There weren't many humans in the desolate lands. There were only 3 ancient cities with millions of people. If one of the 3 great ancient cities of the human race was destroyed, it would be an unbearable loss for the human race. Although the Buddhist Lord had refined this desolate world into the 3rd level of the Buddhist palace's 9 heavens, he had never imagined that the desolate world would evolve into its current state. This place was originally dominated by the human race, but now, the main character was no longer the human race. Boom! A huge hand condensed in the void, emitting a terrifying fluctuation. It was grabbing towards an old demon in the sky. The huge palm almost tore the world apart. An old man rushed out of the ancient city of the human race. Powerful divine fluctuations shook the heavens and earth. This was the Elder Shen King of the human race. Reckless, the old demon sneered. He then stretched out his hand and pressed it towards the Elder Shen King. A terrifying fluctuation was immediately emitted from the old demon's hand. Bang! Just one palm was enough to send the Elder Shen King flying. He suffered a great impact. Blood spurted from his mouth and his body almost collapsed. Me. Humans, no. The old demon spat out these words. These words made the millions of humans in the ancient city furious. This old demon actually dared to look down on the human race. It was truly despicable. The elder Shen King was so agitated that he vomited 3 mouthfuls of blood. He almost fell from the sky. However, his opponent was extremely powerful. He was far from being a match for him. The human race has no one left. Since you refuse to obediently accept your death, then let us begin. The old monster glared coldly at the human elder in front of him and said. At this moment, the ancient city was already in an uproar. Many cultivators rushed into the sky and killed their way into the demon camp outside the city. However, the fate of these human race cultivators seemed to have been decided. Some experts of the demon race attacked and instantly killed these human race cultivators in the void. Then let's begin. An ancient voice came from the beast tribe's camp. After that, the beast race and beast race started to make their move. Outside the ancient city, formations were activated one after another. Numerous demon banners fluttered in the wind. The beast race also used their powerful ancient weapons to seal the surrounding space. A few heart-palpitating energy fluctuations could be felt from the beast race's camp. The Yarrow and Beast clans were about to make a big move. This is too much. Just at this moment, a voice rang out from the ancient city. After that, a figure appeared on top of the ancient city's walls. A tyrannical aura was emitted from that figure. When the old demon saw this figure and sensed the domineering aura, his eyes narrowed. He seemed to have seen a familiar figure. Yi Batian. Didn't you die already? The old demon's heart trembled. He seemed to recognize this human cultivator. Even a tiger like you didn't die, how could I die? The person standing on top of the city raised his head and looked at the old demon in the sky. This was a middle-aged man with a pale face. His voice was weak, as if he was very weak. However, his skinny body emitted an incomparably domineering aura. It's Batian Shen King, he actually didn't die. The ancient city was once again in an uproar. Everyone was incomparably excited. Batian Shen King was a powerful existence that once dominated an entire era. 10,000 years ago, a genius was born from the Yi clan of the Wildlands. Although he had only cultivated for 1,000 years, he was already able to compete with the Shen King of the previous generation. During that era, Batian Shen King had slain a giant demon of the Wildlands. He was a peerless beast that had the chance to become the most powerful existence in the Wildlands. However, just when Batian Shen King was like the sun in the sky, he suddenly disappeared. No one knew what happened to this invincible Shen King. Some said that it was a trap set up by experts from the beast race and demon race that killed this invincible Shen King of the human race. There were also some who said that there was a problem with Batian Shen King's cultivation. The disappearance of Batian Shen King caused rumors to spread everywhere. This matter even caused the Wildlands to be in a state of unrest. And now, the Shen King from 10,000 years ago had appeared, causing the experts from the beast race and demon race to be dumbfounded. Batian Shen King, this name alone was enough to explain everything. It's really you. The old demon involuntarily took a step back. There was a hint of panic on his face. He seemed to be very wary of this skinny middle-aged man. Greetings, old senior. The old man who was injured by the old demon bowed to Batian Shen King. Batian Shen King glanced at the old man and nodded. He then continued to look at the old demon in the sky. His eyes were incomparably calm, without the slightest fluctuation of emotion. He's just a sick ghost. What's the big deal? Just kill him. At this time, an ancient bronze chariot rushed out from the demon race's camp. A tall figure stood on the chariot. It was a golden-haired great demon. Rumble, the bronze chariot was like a huge mountain as it rushed forward, crushing the figure on top of the city wall. The void trembled under the pressure of the chariot. This was a powerful great demon, a supreme expert of the demon race. Batian Shen King snorted coldly and pointed a finger. A ray of divine light shot out from the tip of his finger and instantly pierced the head of the golden-haired great demon on the bronze chariot. Then, Batian Shen King gently flicked his sleeve. The bronze chariot and the great demon's corpse immediately flew backward, directly smashing into the demon race's camp. What? The great demons and wild beasts were dumbfounded. A sickly person actually killed a supreme expert of the demon race with a raise of his hand. Such combat strength shocked all the experts present. The bronze chariot smashed into the demon race's camp, causing chaos. Several demons who could not escape in time were smashed to death on the spot. More than a dozen demons were injured. Screams, and angry shouts were heard. The old demon's expression was extremely ugly. Batian Shen King was still as strong as ever. His combat strength was so strong that even he was moved. It seemed that it would be very difficult to slaughter this ancient city of the human race today. At this time, on a tall pavilion in the ancient city, two figures were watching every move of the experts outside the city. Those fellows from the demon race and the beast race will never expect that Patriarch of Empyrean glory is still here. Yi Wuji's eyes flickered. He was no longer in a depressed state. Who can compete with Patriarch of Empyrean glory? Yi Wu's eyes were also shining with brilliance. Boom! At this moment, a terrifying aura that could dominate the heavens and earth erupted from the thin figure on top of the city wall. The weather suddenly changed, and the sun and moon lost their light. It was as if a supreme being had awakened. In the valley, Jiyu Fei, who was sitting cross-legged on a boulder, suddenly opened his eyes and looked in the direction of the ancient city of the human race. His eyes seemed to be able to see through the void and see the figure on top of the ancient city wall. Target =_. Chapter 1461. Sky Tyrant Shen King was incomparably domineering. He released a domineering and powerful aura, as though a peerless Shen King had descended from the heavens and earth, suppressing all directions. Sage to be. The old demon leader was shocked. His opponent's cultivation was unimaginably strong. All the experts at the scene could feel the immense pressure. A commotion broke out in the camp of the beasts and demons. No one would have thought that there would be such an existence in an ancient city of the human race. This time, the Beast Clan and Monster Clan had kicked an iron plate. Retreat. Without any hesitation, the old demon and the elders of the beasts had the same thought. Their opponent was too strong. Unless their clan leader came, none of them would be a match for Sky Tyrant Shen King. At the same time, the demon race activated the demon race's grand formation that surrounded the ancient city. Billions of demonic lights shot up to the sky. A destructive force was rapidly condensing and obliterating the ancient city. Rumble, as though the world was being split apart, the entire area was shaking. The void began to distort. Cracks in the void that looked like black lightning flashed from time to time. The void of the wild world was very stable. Although the void was torn apart by the power of the demon race's grand formation, the cracks disappeared instantly. The shattered void was quickly repaired by the power of heaven and earth. The allied army of the beasts and demons began to retreat. Large numbers of people rushed towards the distance like clouds. War chariots rolled across the sky. Roar. The roars of the beasts were earth-shattering. A peerless ferocious beast appeared in the camp of the beasts. Monstrous killing intent swept across the sky and earth. The demon race activated the grand formation at this time to buy time for the beasts and demons, so that Sky Tyrant Shen King would not be able to attack them immediately. Sky Tyrant Shen King snorted coldly. How could he not know the intention of the demon race? Bam! Sky Tyrant Shen King struck out with his palm. A demon flag that was erected outside the ancient city fell down immediately. Demonic light shot out in all directions and a piece of the formation was instantly obliterated. The power of the demon clan's array formation was greatly reduced. A corner of the array pattern was obliterated, and the demon clan's array formation was affected. Shen King of the Heavens continued to attack, breaking through a few formation runes. Then, he soared into the sky and chased after the allied forces of the demon race and the beast race. A domineering aura filled the entire area. One person scared off the allied forces of the Monster Clan and the Beast Clan. This kind of aura was absolutely shocking. Boom! Heaven and earth trembled, and the inevitable war erupted. The old-timers of the demon race and the beast race attacked, and powerful pressure spread out in all directions. Roar! A white tiger that was as huge as a mountain appeared in the sky. The white tiger opened its mouth and spat out a terrifying gust of wind. The gust of wind was like a knife, and ripples could be seen in the void. Do you think you're the real white tiger, divine beast? Overlord Shen King ignored the astral winds that could destroy even almighties. He took a big step forward and struck out with his palm. The ferocious power dispersed the astral winds that were blowing towards him. Bang! A muffled sound was heard. The white tiger that was as huge as a mountain was sent flying. Blood splattered from the sky. The white tiger emperor, who had a trace of the white tiger divine beast's bloodline, was defeated in one move. The peerless Shen King's combat strength was truly shocking. Unless a demi-saint came, even a semi-saint would not be a match for him. Roar! The roar of a beast shook the earth. A green divine wolf appeared, emitting a terrifying aura as it pounced towards Overlord Shen King. Swoosh! A divine eye appeared on Shen Lang's forehead. Chaotic divine light shot out from the divine eye, piercing towards Overlord Shen King. Wherever the divine light passed, the void turned into primordial chaos. Boom! The divine emperor of Ba Tianshan possessed unparalleled combat strength. He did not dodge or evade. Instead, he punched the primal chaos divine light that pierced through his body. Then, he swept his leg across the back of the divine wolf. Crack! The divine wolf let out a blood-curdling scream. The sound of bones breaking came from its body. Its spine was broken by Overlord Shen King's kick. Its huge body fell from the sky like a meteorite. Boom! The earth shook and dust flew. A small hill was smashed by the divine wolf. Many beasts and monsters couldn't dodge in time and were pierced by the rocks. All the beasts and monsters were fleeing for their lives. A battle of this level was not something that ordinary experts could intervene in. Just the power that was released was enough to kill ordinary almighties. Roar! The divine wolf roared. At this level of cultivation, simple attacks could no longer threaten its life. A powerful force surged in the divine wolf's body. The broken spine was instantly repaired. Bang! The ground exploded. The divine wolf soared into the sky and attacked Overlord Shen King. At this time, the white tiger that was as big as a mountain also recovered and pounced over from afar. At the same time, a few powerful figures appeared nearby. These experts had locked their eyes on Overlord Shen King and were emitting killing intent. They could attack Overlord Shen King at any time. Buzz! A green millstone flew out from the divine wolf's mouth. It enlarged rapidly and emitted a destructive force that could destroy the heaven and earth. It was aimed at Overlord Shen King. Like a millstone that could destroy the world, a surge of holy might was emitted from the millstone. This was a sacred weapon that was left behind by an ancient beast of the beast race. It contained the power of an ancient beast. Although Overlord Shen King was skinny, he was invincible. He completely ignored the attack of the sacred weapon. He raised his fist and punched at the incoming sacred weapon. Bang! Overlord Shen King's fist collided with the green millstone. The entire void instantly cracked like a spider web. These cracks only appeared for a short moment. The laws of heaven and earth in the wildlands repaired them. The cyan millstone was smashed away. Facing a saint weapon head-on, the tyrant Sky Divine Emperor didn't fall into a disadvantageous position. This scene left everyone dumbfounded. Quasi-saint, he's a quasi-saint. The White Tiger Emperor was stunned by the scene before him. He couldn't be bothered to attack anymore. He immediately stopped and retreated step by step. His entire body was trembling. The other experts who were about to attack were also drenched in cold sweat. They couldn't help but retreat. In this era where sages did not appear, a quasi-saint represented invincibility. They were the supreme beings of heaven and earth. How could they fight against a quasi-saint? Unless the Lord of Wildlands and the Lord of Wildlands returned, no one would be a match for Overlord Shen King. Sage to be. In the clouds far above, there was a figure that had merged with the surrounding void. He was staring at the domineering figure in the distance. In another direction, there was a dark cloud floating in the air. Within the dark cloud, There were two specks of green light that swept across the battlefield, giving off an eerie and terrifying aura. To see the first ad free, please go to Please share target =_ blank. Chapter 1462. Date 09-2098 More good novels. Download please go #. The appearance of Heaven Tyrant Shun, king of the human race, had completely changed the disadvantageous position of the human race. Shun, king of the heavenly demon race and the beast race, were no match for him. He's a quasi-saint, let's go. The White Tiger Emperor screamed and immediately turned to flee. Fighting against a quasi-saint was simply suicide. The White Tiger Emperor was scared out of its wits. Shun, king of the heavenly demon race's combat strength was too terrifying. The divine wolf god also knew that the situation was bad. Although it had an ancient weapon from the beast race, it was still not enough. The ancient weapon was sent flying by Heaven Tyrant Shun, king of the heavenly demon race, with a single punch. The physique of this expert of the human race was actually so strong that it could contend against a saint weapon. This caused the divine wolf god's heart to tremble. It knew that it was no match for him and decisively retreated. Want to leave? Heaven Tyrant Shun, king of the heavenly demon race, coldly spoke. The White Tiger Emperor and the divine wolf god wanted to flee, but in front of this supreme expert of the human race, how could they escape? Boom! A destructive fluctuation that caused all living beings to tremble came from the sky. Following that, a bolt of lightning the size of a mountain range descended from the sky, engulfing the White Tiger Emperor and the divine wolf god in an instant. Everyone was stunned. Heaven Tyrant Shun, king of the heavenly demon race's methods were too terrifying. He actually summoned lightning with just a thought, as if the heavenly tribulation was summoned by him. Roar! Huge bolts of lightning flashed, destroying everything in their path. Even the void was torn apart. Each bolt of lightning emitted a destructive energy that caused one's heart to palpitate. The White Tiger Emperor and the divine wolf god roared in anger, wanting to rush out from the sea of lightning. However, Heaven Tyrant Shun, king of the heavenly demon race, had already made his move, using his supreme technique to trap them. These two old fellows had no way of contending against the supreme Shun king. Swish! Tyrant Shun king strode through the sea of lightning. None of the lightning could get close to him. He walked directly towards the White Tiger King and easily took off the head of the White Tiger King. Some of the experts who had cultivated the God-Eye realm gasped when they saw this scene in the sea of lightning. An incomparably powerful ancient demon was actually killed so easily. After all, the White Tiger Emperor was an ancient demon that possessed the bloodline of the divine beast, the White Tiger. It had lived for countless years, and its cultivation was powerful enough to fight against a half-saint. This is the strength of a sage to be. Far in the sky, the figure in the clouds muttered to himself. A quasi-sage was stronger than a half-sage. In front of a quasi-sage, a half-sage was as weak as an ant. Rumble! Just as Overlord Shun King killed the White Tiger Emperor, the Green Wolf drove the world obliteration millstone and rushed out of the sea of lightning. However, its body was charred black from head to toe, and its flesh had been seriously injured by the lightning. The ancient beast race weapon contained a trace of the spirit of an ancient beast. At this time, this ancient weapon unleashed the power of a saint-level expert, and its holy aura filled the sky and earth. Divine Emperor Ba Tian opened his mouth and sucked in all the lightning that filled the sky into his body. Then, he spat out the lightning towards Green Wolf. A dazzling lightning flashed in the void and instantly pierced through Green Wolf's head. The azure wolf ancient beast wanted to resist, but just as it retracted its cyan millstone, its sea of consciousness was destroyed by the lightning that shot out from Divine Emperor's mouth, and its yuanshan was scattered. The speed of the lightning was too fast, so fast that even an ancient beast couldn't react in time. After the tyrant Sky Divine Emperor killed the two antique experts, his pale face showed a trace of strange blood, and his thin body swayed a few times. These subtle changes that were not easily noticed by others could not escape the eyes of a true powerhouse. There's something wrong with his body. High up in the sky, in a hidden mass of dark clouds, someone muttered to himself. Within the dark clouds, there seemed to be shadows of ghosts faintly discernible, giving off a ghastly aura. The deaths of the two old-timers struck fear into the hearts of the Yarrow and Beastmen experts. No one dared to make a move, and they all fled for their lives. Even some of the old-timers had no choice but to retreat. The news that the tyrant Shen King of the human race was still alive quickly spread throughout the wildlands. One person, one name, was enough to stun the three strongest races in the wildlands. Could it be that the human race had truly risen to power? First, there was a human expert that swept through the three races of the wildlands. Now, there was the tyrant Shen King. Was this all a coincidence? Kill. Someone in the ancient human city roared. Then, several powerful waves of energy erupted from the ancient city. Human cultivators shot into the sky and chased after the beasts and beasts who were fleeing in all directions. Bzzz. A sword hum that shook the 9 heavens rang out from the ancient city. A beam of sword light shot out from the ancient city in a graceful manner. It intercepted a great demon and a great battle ensued. Sword energy crisscrossed the area, and within the sword light was a woman. Swoosh. In just a few exchanges, the sword light flashed and the greater demon's head fell to the ground. A beam of demonic light shot out from the top of the demon's head. This was the greater demon's nascent spirit. Wrapped in demonic light, it shot into the sky in an attempt to escape. However, the woman pointed a finger at the primordial spirit of the great demon. A resplendent sword light rushed forward and disintegrated the primordial spirit in the void. The princess of the Yi clan is truly extraordinary. Someone recognized the woman. She was the pearl of the Yi clan, Yewu. Yewu cultivated the way of the sword. Her way of the sword was a supreme technique created by an ancient supreme being. Once she cultivated it to a profound level, she could break through all kinds of techniques with just a sword in her hand. Ancient sword cultivators were capable of breaking all laws with a single sword. This was no mere legend. Yewu was incomparably domineering. Her entire being was like an unsheathed heavenly sword. After killing the greater demon, she headed straight for the place with the most number of demons. Wherever the sword light passed, there would be blood. This Tao of the sword was no longer as simple as killing a demon in 10 steps. Wherever Yewu appeared, not a single demon would be able to survive her sword light. Another hero of the Yi family was also making a move. Yi Wuji directly fought against a powerful figure of the demon clan and started a fierce battle with him. At this time, the experts of the human race were slaughtering their way out of the ancient city, reaping the lives of the beastmen and demons. With the heavenly tyrant divine emperor present, the elders of the demon race and beastmen couldn't be bothered to attack. Nobody could have imagined that things would develop to this point. Shen King Batian didn't go after the beastmen and demons. Instead, he stared at the black cloud in the sky, his eyes flashing. He could already sense that there were experts watching from afar. "Ghost Lord," Shen King Batian said. He could tell who the expert in the black cloud was. There were only a handful of people in the wildlands with such a cultivation base. "Yi Batian." A gloomy voice came from the black cloud. The black cloud suddenly moved and instantly arrived nearby. A gloomy and terrifying aura spread out from the black cloud. More good novels. Download please go #target =_ blank. Chapter 1463. Date 09-29th More good novels. Download please go =_ This is. Everyone was shocked. Only now did they notice the existence of the black cloud. To think that there was a peerless expert spying on them from the sidelines. Moreover, this expert was none other than the legendary Ghost Lord. The Wildlands Ghost Lord was the most mysterious of the 3 major tribes of the Wildlands. In the entire Wildlands, there were only a handful of people who had seen the Ghost Lord's true appearance. "You want to fight?" Shen King stared at the faintly discernible figure within the ghost chi. His gaze was as sharp as a heavenly sword. Although his body was skinny, he exuded a domineering aura. "You're out of the question." Amidst the ghostly aura, the Wildlands Ghost Lord's ethereal and eerie voice sounded out. When it entered the ears of those who heard it, they felt a chill. The appearance of the Wildlands Ghost Lord caused a subtle change in the battlefield. Some of the beast men and demons that had retreated earlier reappeared in the distance. The human cultivators no longer dared to pursue the fleeing beast men and demons. With ancient beasts and demons spying on them, even an almighty expert would only be able to hold a grudge against them. I might not be able to kill you, but I can at least injure you. Shun King's voice was weak and his face was pale. He seemed to be panting a little, but no one dared to look down on him. Even though his body was in trouble, he was still a force to be reckoned with. Is that so? The Wildlands Ghost Lord's aura suddenly erupted. A terrifying pressure spread out from his body, causing the entire world to tremble. Bang! A black ghostly hand directly shot out of the ghostly fog and slapped towards Ba Tian Divine Emperor. The dreadful power of a quasi-sage expert was mighty, and the void collapsed under the pressure of this ghostly hand. The power of a quasi-saint was so strong that it could tear the void apart. Shun King did not retreat. Instead, his body surged with endless battle intent. His entire body grew taller, like a peerless god of war, becoming the only existence between heaven and earth. Boom! Sky Overlord Shun King punched out. Boundless lightning energy bloomed on his fist as it met the incoming ghost hand. Two powerful forces collided with each other in an instant. Rumble! The void was collapsing. The aura of a saint was vast and mighty. This was the saint energy that only a quasi-saint could emit. Only such energy could tear apart the void of the wildlands. Thud thud, Tyrant Shun King suffered a great impact. He took 5 to 6 steps back, and every step he took caused the entire world to tremble. I told you, you can't. The cold voice of the Wildlands Ghost Lord rang out. In this exchange, he had gained the upper hand. With his invincible cultivation base of a quasi-sage, he seemed to be able to suppress the heavenly tyrant Shun King. Batian Shun King stared at the strange silhouette in the fog. His battle intent was still as strong as ever, but there was a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth. He was injured. If only I could return to my peak state, the heavenly tyrant Shun King was unwilling to give up. There was something wrong with his body. Otherwise, he was confident that he would not lose to the Ghost Dao sect master. But now, his qi and blood had dried up and his body was thin. He was no longer in his peak state, and it was difficult for him to display his invincible and majestic appearance. There are no IFS in this world. If you die, the human clan will be finished. The Wildlands Ghost Lord's words sent a chill down the human's spine. Was this supreme of the Ghost Clan going to kill the heavenly tyrant Shun King? Empyrean Patriarch, Yewu and Yewuji rushed over from afar. However, the heavenly tyrant Shun King waved his sleeves and sent them flying. They crossed hundreds of miles and landed in the ancient city of the human clan. Ancestor, Yewu and Yewuji turned pale with fright. They knew that the Ye clan was at a critical juncture. Even the heavenly tyrant Shun King would not be able to withstand the attack of the supreme of the Ghost Dao. If you want to kill me, you'll have to pay a hefty price. The heavenly tyrant Shun King's expression did not change. Although his battle strength had fallen from his peak state, a starving camel was still bigger than a horse. If he were to fight to the death, he believed that he could still inflict serious damage to the Wildlands Ghost Lord. Mph, you think too highly of yourself. The Wildlands Ghost Lord sneered. A shocking killing intent emanated from his body. He was determined to kill the heavenly tyrant Shun King. Today's matter would not end peacefully. Then let's fight. The heavenly tyrant Shun King's hands moved in the void and a simple and unadorned long sword appeared in his hand. It was an inconspicuous long sword. However, when the heavenly tyrant Shun King held it in his right hand, the ancient warship seemed to come to life. It let out a deafening sound and tiny lightning bolts appeared on the body of the ancient sword. The Wildlands Ghost Lord couldn't help but be cautious when he saw the ancient sword. The aura exuding from the ancient sword shocked even him. The sword of an ancient overlord? The Wildlands Ghost Lord asked. The old fogies of the beast race and monster race were shocked when they heard this. Could the ancient sword in the heavenly tyrant Shun King's hand be the legendary overlord's sword? In the Wildlands, there had once been an invincible overlord who had used the overlord's sword to sweep through everything and unify the entire Wildlands. In the end, The Overlord had barged into the origin source of the Wildlands in an attempt to obtain the legendary Gate of Reincarnation and leave this world. However, that invincible Overlord had entered the origin grounds of heaven and earth of the wild world and never came out again. Some people said that the invincible Overlord had already perished in the origin grounds of the world, while others said that he had already obtained the Gate of Reincarnation and left this world, entering an even vaster world. Overlord's sword. High up in the sky, someone was muttering to himself. No one had noticed the mysterious person hiding in the clouds, as he seemed to have fused with the surrounding void. So what if you have the Overlord's sword? Your cultivation level has already dropped. You still can't do it. The Wildlands Ghost Lord was very confident. He gathered the power of a quasi-sage, causing the void to tremble. Everyone couldn't help but back away. The aura of a quasi-sage was too strong, like a mountain crushing down on everyone's hearts. Those with weaker cultivations were already lying on the ground, trembling. Buzz. The heavenly tyrant Shun King pointed the ancient sword at the Wildlands Ghost Lord. Let's fight. Divine Emperor Tyrant Sky Divine Emperor was very direct and immediately attacked. Thunder and lightning surged out from his right hand. The ancient sword in his hand instantly turned into a bolt of lightning and pierced towards the barbarian Ghost Lord at an extremely fast speed. Swoosh. The Wildlands Ghost Lord's figure turned blurry, leaving behind an afterimage. His real body dodged the heavenly tyrant Shun King's sword and charged towards the heavenly tyrant Shun King. The figures of the two experts flickered in the void as they battled. More good novels. Download please go _. Target =_ blank. Chapter 1464. Date. October 03 Road More good novels. Download please go First Class Academy The battle between Ba Tien Shen King and Savage Ghost Lord caused a terrifying shockwave to sweep out in all directions. Everyone retreated to a distance and stared nervously at the two rapidly moving figures on the battlefield. Boom. Saint class energy constantly surged out from the two terrifying figures, causing the void to tremble and visible ripples to spread out. Bang! There was a muffled sound as a figure was sent flying while blood sprinkled down from the sky. I said you can't do it, your time has passed. Savage Ghost Lord's eerie words reached everyone's ears, causing the beast race and demon race to rejoice. With the Savage Ghost Lord's main force suppressing Ba Tien Shen King, it was only a matter of time before the human race was annihilated. Meanwhile, the human race was incomparably appalled. If Ba Tien Shen King couldn't resist the Savage Ghost Lord, the human race would be in danger. The person who was sent flying was Ba Tien Shen King. There was a fist mark on his chest where his muscles caved in and his bones were fractured. A black aura floated out from the fist mark on Ba Tien Shen King's chest. That was the 9 nether ghost chi cultivated by Savage Ghost Lord. It was specialized in corroding the life essence of cultivators. Ba Tien Shen King wiped away a trace of blood from the corner of his mouth. His sword once again charged forward. The ancient sword in his hand let out a series of vibrations and rays of resplendent lightning sword radiance. Swish. The sword radiance cut through the void and slashed towards the figure shrouded in the ghost mist. Boom. Ba Tien Shen King was sent flying again. This time, there was a palm print on his left shoulder. This palm strike had shattered the bones in his entire shoulder. Roar. Ba Tien Shen King bellowed. Streaks of terrifying lightning rushed out from his body. He was like a peerless thunder god as massive lightning energy surged within his body. His flesh, tendons, and bones were rapidly healing. The 9 nether ghost chi that had invaded his body was forced out by his immense strength. Old ancestor Ba Tien, in the sky above the ancient human city, the pearl of the Yi clan, Yi Wu, and the talent of the Yi clan, Yi Wuji, saw this scene with bloodshot eyes. But they were stopped by a few elders of the Yi family. This pair of brother and sister of the Yi clan were regarded as the end of the Yi clan. If even they were to fall, then the Yi clan would truly decline completely. The Overlord's sword is changing masters. Ba Tien Shen King is no longer as invincible as he was in the past. He is about to lose. His chi and blood have deteriorated, so how can he fight against the Ghost Lord in his peak condition? Some of the old demons and ancient beasts who were watching from afar were whispering to each other. It was as though they could already see the ending of the battle between the heavenly tyrant Shen King and the Wildlands Ghost Lord. You are very strong. On the battlefield, Batian Shen King stood high up in the sky, a trace of blood seeped out of the corner of his mouth. He was extremely thin, as though a gust of wind could blow him over. However, even though he had been injured by the Wildlands Ghost Lord, he still displayed the unyielding fighting spirit of an overlord. Streaks of lightning coiled around his body like agile snakes. Enough to kill you. The Wildlands Ghost Lord was very confident. His confidence stemmed from his formidable strength. His invincible quasi-sage cultivation suppressed Batian Shen King, but Batian Shen King had long fallen from that realm. You really want to exterminate the human race? Batian Shen King asked calmly. The Wildlands Ghost Lord remained silent for a while before saying, "In my eyes, only you are worthy of me making a move." Despicable. A devil who assists the wicked. How is this any different from exterminating the human race? Hypocrite. Within the human ancient city, a group of human cultivators were cursing at this Wildlands Ghost Lord for being too cunning. It was obvious that he did not want to bear the crime of exterminating the human race. It was obvious that the Wildlands Ghost Lord had some misgivings. You old ghost, I think you are afraid that another paragon of the human race will come to settle the score with you, right? A black tower-like muscular man wielding a mace appeared on top of the city wall. The black muscular man's voice was as loud as a bell, transmitting into the ears of everyone present. There is no point in talking anymore. Kill. The Wildlands Ghost Lord did not want to say anything else and immediately attacked. Boundless ghost chi spread out and enveloped the entire region, devouring Batian Shen King. Rumble. The entire heaven and earth trembled as thunder balls exploded within the ghost fog. Batian Shen King used his full strength, and millions of divine lightning struck down from the heavens, blasting away the ghost fog. Buzz. Tyrant's golden cry. Batian Shen King cleaved out a tyrannical sword. The terrifying sword light reached the heavens, and it felt as though this sword was going to cleave the entire world into two. Swish. The Wildlands Ghost Lord quickly retreated, leaving behind a series of afterimages in the void. This was the first time he was forced to retreat. Batian Shen King had used the power of divine lightning. This kind of power was like a heavenly prisoner, and it was the bane of the nine nether ghost chi. All ghosts were afraid of the divine lightning. Even if the Wildlands Ghost Lord had cultivated the quasi-ghost sage body, he would still be suppressed by this kind of natural suppression. Nine nether void. The Wildlands Ghost Lord let out a furious roar, and his hands drew across the void. The void was torn apart, and a passageway seemed to have appeared in front of him. Boundless ghost chi surged out. Boom. The heaven and earth shook violently, and the Wildlands Ghost Lord used his supreme divine ability to forcefully open up a terrifying void. There, the blood sea was churning, and the ghost chi was vast. Terrifying ghost shadows could be faintly seen, and there were scalp-numbing ghost cries lingering around. Tyrant is unrivaled. Batian Shen King was fearless, and he drew millions of divine lightning bolts while wielding the tyrant's sword and killed his way into the void of hell that the Wildlands Ghost Lord had opened up. He didn't retreat, and he only pressed forward. When Batian Shen King charged into the void, the lightning exploded, and the entire void of hell was trembling as though it was going to collapse. The blood sea below had nearly evaporated. Countless ghost shadows were dissipating, and more than half of the ghost chi in the void of hell had been dispersed by the countless divine lightning bolts. This caused the Wildlands Ghost Lord to be affected. Roar. There was a furious roar, and a 30,000-meter-long ghost shadow appeared in front of Batian Shen King. It emitted a terrifying ghost Dao energy fluctuation, and with a single slap, it sent Batian Shen King flying. Batian Shen King was sent flying for thousands of meters, and he vomited a mouthful of blood. His clothes were stained with blood, and his body's blood and chi were dried up. He had suffered a heavy injury. In this world, I am the supreme. What qualifications do you have to fight against me? Die. The Wildlands Ghost Lord's voice rang out in this part of hell, and the blood sea that had been evaporated by the lightning reappeared. Endless ghost chi had condensed into a black fog, and it was rumbling as it pressed down from the sky. Streaks of black lightning appeared in this terrifying part of hell, and they struck towards Ba Tian Shen King. This wasn't an ordinary power, but a terrifying profound yin ghost force that could tear through the void. If it struck, even a quasi-sage would perish. Just as Ba Tian Shen King was in danger, a bright light suddenly appeared above his head. This part of hell that the Wildlands Ghost Lord had created had been pierced through by someone. A human figure descended from the sky. More good novels. Download ~please go ~First Class Academy ~. Target =_ blank. Chapter 1465. Date. October 03 Road More good novels. Download please go online bookbar **bookbar #Heaven Tyrant Shen King being suppressed by the savage Ghost Lord caused countless humans to feel despair. If Heaven Tyrant Shen King was defeated, the fate of the millions of humans in the ancient human city could already be foreseen. Ever since the savage Ghost Lord made his move, the scattered demon and beast alliance gradually stabilized their footing and approached the ancient human city from afar. The demon race's formation might have been broken by Heaven Tyrant Shen King, and the leading ancient demon and beast had been slain by Heaven Tyrant Shen King, but the demon race and beast race's strength had not been truly weakened. There were also ancient demon and beast figures appearing outside the ancient human city. The overflowing demonic aura caused the millions of humans in the ancient city to feel their hearts palpitate. Furthermore, the ancient demon and beast emitted a terrifying baleful aura that caused one's mind to tremble. It was unknown how many living beings had been killed to gather such baleful aura. Fortunately, the formation that enveloped the entire ancient human city had weakened the aura emitted by the ancient demon and beast by more than half. Otherwise, not many humans in the ancient human city would be able to stand under the pressure of the ancient demon and beast. Boom! The heaven and earth changed drastically. High up in the sky, the savage Ghost Lord used a great ability to suck in Heaven Tyrant Shen King. The two terrifying auras immediately disappeared. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief. Heaven Tyrant Shen King is dead for sure. Kill all the humans. Use the blood of the humans to wash away the humiliation of our race. Roar. Heaven Tyrant Shen King was being suppressed by the savage Ghost Lord. The demon race and beast race's alliance immediately charged towards the ancient human city from all directions. However, when they were about 300 meters away from the ancient human city, countless demons and beasts seemed to have smashed into an invisible wall and were sent flying back. Some of them were even bleeding from the impact. There's a formation. Everyone, retreat. A powerful demon roared, and the entire heaven and earth were echoing. In the distance, bronze chariots rolled over from the sky and rushed towards the ancient human city. Buzz. There was a loud sound coming from the dozen ancient chariots of the demon race. A resplendent demonic light soared into the sky and pierced through the ancient human city. An extremely terrifying wave of energy spread out from that beam of demonic light. Forbidden artifact. In the ancient human city, a few elders of the Yi clan sensed the fluctuations of the demonic light and their expressions immediately changed. This was the fluctuation of the power of a saint. Boom. With an earth-shaking boom, the entire ancient city of the human race began to shake. The beam of demonic light violently bumped into the great formation outside the city. The destructive power tore a 23-feet-long hole in the barrier of light condensed by the power of the formation, and actually broke the formation's seal. Swish! A figure rushed in through the gap in the light barrier. It was a ferocious beast in the shape of a tyrannosaurus. It was only a dozen feet tall, but the killing intent it exuded was comparable to some ancient fae. The berserk beasts are here. The ancient human city was instantly thrown into chaos. Human cultivators soared into the sky and charged at the Tyrannosaurus. All kinds of magic treasures emitted divine light that illuminated the world. Roar. The tyrannical dragon let out a furious roar. The scales all over its body were flowing with green rays of light. It completely ignored the various magic treasures that were attacking it and directly rushed forward. The dozen or so magic treasures were either knocked away by the Tyrannosaurus or crushed by its claws. After that, the The Tyrannosaurus directly charged through the dozen or so human cultivators. The dozen or so human cultivators immediately stopped moving. It was as if time itself had stopped. Bang, 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 bang. The dozen or so human cultivators' bodies instantly exploded, turning into a bloody mist that blossomed like mournful red flowers. It was a ghastly sight to behold. What? This? All the cultivators in the ancient human city who saw this scene were shocked. The dozen or so human cultivators were actually instantly killed by this berserk beast, their bodies and souls extinguish. Damn it! I'll fight you. On the city wall, the dark-skinned man wielding the mace leaped high into the sky. Then, he swung the mace with both hands and smashed it down on the head of the berserk beast. This dark-skinned man's divine strength was astonishing. The mace in his hand was like a huge mountain that shook the void. Ripples that could be seen with the naked eye spread out from the mace. The tyrannical dragon did not dodge. It raised its arm to block the attack. Then, its other claw swiped at the chest of the dark-skinned man with lightning speed. Bang! The dark-skinned man's mace fiercely smashed into the berserk beast's right arm. The violent force directly smashed the berserk beast down from the sky. Imperceptibly, the berserk beast's claw that was aimed at his chest was neutralized. Boom! The ground shook, and a cloud of dust rose from the ground. The tyrannical dragon had smashed a huge pit in the ground. Cracks spread out in all directions. Good. The human cultivators in the ancient human city all cheered when they saw this scene. This dark-skinned man was not a disciple of the ancient human city's Yi clan, but his combat strength was extremely tyrannical. Kill. With a roar that shook the mountains and rivers, the dark-skinned man was like a mad god descending from the sky. The mace in his hand emitted a terrifying energy fluctuation. Bang! At this moment, the ground suddenly exploded. A terrifying figure rushed out from the ground to meet the dark-skinned man. Boom! There was a loud sound that shook the void. The two experts instantly collided. Neither of them retreated and directly collided with the dark-skinned man, sending him flying. Meanwhile, the berserk beast was once again smashed into the ground by the dark-skinned man's mace. At this time, there was another earth-shattering sound. Among the demon race, a demon expert used a forbidden tool to attack the ancient human city's great formation. The demon race's forbidden tool released a terrifying saint-class power and tore the void. The light screen of the ancient human city's great formation was torn apart once again. Swish! Another berserk beast rushed in from the crack on the light screen. This was a ferocious ape. It was only 9 feet tall, but its body emitted a monstrous ferocious aura. The demon race destroyed 2 forbidden tools to send these 2 berserk beasts in. The great formation of the ancient human city was extraordinary. At the very least, it was an ancient formation set up by the human race's great saint. Although countless years had passed, it still withstood the attack of a saint-class power. The torn divine light screen rapidly repaired itself, and the crack on the light screen quickly disappeared. Roar! That ferocious ape stomped on the ground and directly pounced towards the ancient human city. Just as the ferocious ape was about to pounce into the ancient human city, a divine light suddenly descended from the sky and instantly nailed that ferocious ape to death in the void. Then, a figure descended from the heavens, bathed in divine light and divine energy, like an immortal from the 9th heavens. That person directly broke through the Wildlands Ghost Lord's 9 hells void and stepped in. It's him. That person has appeared again. One of the demon race's old fogies recognized that person and was instantly scared out of his wits. He turned and fled in panic. Gu Fei, within the ancient human city, Yi Wuji couldn't help but be entranced by that figure. More good novels. Download ~please go ~online bookbar ~* bookbar #target=_ Chapter 1466. Date. October 3rd. More good novels. Download ~please go ~. The blood sea surged, and the yin energy surged. The Wildlands Ghost Lord was like the ruler of this world. He opened up the 9 hells, wanting to completely obliterate the heavenly tyrant Shen King. But at this critical juncture, someone attacked from his 9 hells infernal hell. Boom! The entire 9 hells shook. The newcomer's power was unimaginable, directly breaking through the barrier of heaven and earth. A saintly might spread out from that figure. "It's you," the Wildlands Ghost Lord's sinister voice rang out. His tone was filled with disbelief. This person had appeared again. This human expert had obtained the complete Extreme Dao ancient town diagram, but he didn't go to the Wildlands source. This was something the Wildlands Ghost Lord had never imagined. He had waited for several months and restrained his subordinates from attacking the human race because he had some misgivings about this human expert. But this human expert didn't appear again after obtaining the Holy City. The Wildlands Ghost Lord thought that this human expert had already gone to the Extreme Dao ancient formation. But who would have thought that at this critical moment, this human expert would appear again? Boom! The immortal aura soared into the sky, and the entire nine hells looked like it was about to collapse. The blood sea that was sweeping into the sky was forcibly suppressed, and the surging yin mist was dispersed. The newcomer was like an immortal above the 9 heavens. 9 rays of immortal light surrounded him, emitting heart-palpitating fluctuations. It felt like the entire 9 hells void was about to be crushed. The heavenly tyrant Shen King was both shocked and delighted. This newcomer was incredibly powerful, at the very least a quasi-sage. When did such a supreme figure appear in the human race? Ghost Lord, you're not kind at all. The newcomer stared at a part of the 9 hells void. The space there twisted, and a blurry ghost figure condensed. Don't misunderstand, I'm just excited to exchange pointers with the heavenly tyrant Shen King. The Wildlands Ghost Lord hurriedly said. This newcomer wasn't someone he could provoke. Is that so? How about I exchange pointers with you as well? Ji Fei pressed forward. Immortal Dao energy surged as ancient immortal Dao patterns appeared on his body, interweaving into mysterious patterns that condensed immortal Dao energy. Fellow Daoist really knows how to joke, the Wildlands Ghost Lord said with some embarrassment. He didn't want to offend Ji Fei. This was the situation he didn't want to see the most. Ji Fei continued to press forward. He laughed and said, "You think I'm joking?" If he hadn't been hiding above the clouds to see what had happened, he might have been tricked by the Wildlands Ghost Lord. But since Ji Fei had witnessed everything, how could he not know the sinister intentions of the Wildlands Ghost Lord? On the surface, he wanted to fight against the heaven tyrant Shen King, but he did not want to slaughter the human race. However, if Tyrant Shen King was suppressed by the Wildlands Ghost Lord, no one would be able to stop him. The Wildlands Ghost Lord wouldn't even need to personally act. The allied forces of the monster race and the beast race would be able to slaughter all the humans in the city. The Wildlands Ghost Lord knew that things were bad this time. This person could fight his way into the primal Chaos Dragon Cave and forcefully take away the demon race's supreme being. This kind of battle accomplishment made one's heart palpitate. Rumble. The entire world suddenly shook. Rays of blood-red light flashed in the dusky world. This was the power of the Netherworld blood sea being drawn by the Wildlands Ghost Lord. Then let's fight. The Wildlands Ghost Lord roared and pointed at Ji Fei. Countless blood-red lightning bolts rushed out from the blood sea and struck at Ji Fei. Ji Fei's expression did not change in the face of such a powerful attack. He walked forward as if he was taking a stroll in the park. It was as if he had completely ignored the countless blood-red lightning bolts. The Netherworld blood sea's power was the most evil power in the world. Just a tiny bit of it would be able to corrode the essence energy of an almighty. The 9 Nether Hell was an inner world created by the Wildlands Ghost Lord. Here, he was a supreme god. He could use all the power in this place to kill his enemies. However, a shocking scene appeared. All the blood-red lightning bolts that were striking at Ji Fei were instantly reversed when they reached Ji Fei. Countless blood-red lightning bolts struck back, shocking the Wildlands Ghost Lord. What? The Wildlands Ghost Lord could not believe what he was seeing. There was actually someone in his inner world that could reverse his attacks. This great technique seems to be, in the distance, Batian Shen King seemed to have thought of something as his eyes flickered. Buzz. The void trembled. With a thought, the countless blood-red lightning bolts that were striking back at him immediately dissipated as if they had never appeared. At the same time, countless ghostly aura frantically converged towards him. Ghostly shadows could be vaguely seen within the ghostly mist. It seemed like countless vengeful spirits and malicious spirits were wandering within. In just an instant, the entire Nine Nether Hell was filled with this profound yin ghostly aura. If a mortal came into contact with this profound yin ghostly aura, they would instantly lose their lives. Jiyu Fei and Batian Shen King were peerless experts. This level of ghostly aura did not pose any threat to them. 9 rays of immortal light revolved around Jiyu Fei's body and blocked all the profound yin ghostly aura that was surging over from all directions, making it hard for them to get close. On the other side, Batian Shen King's body was surging with resplendent lightning power. He was like an ancient god of thunder. Once the profound yin ghostly aura got close, it would be dispersed by the lightning power. The lightning power was the nemesis of the profound yin ghostly aura. Roar! Horrifying ghostly howls rang out from the ghostly aura. One after another, hideous ghostly faces appeared. It seemed like countless vengeful spirits were struggling in pain. As the profound yin ghostly aura condensed, ghostly shadows walked out from the ghostly mist and rushed towards Jiyu Fei. These were formless shadows, but Jiyu Fei did not dare to be careless. Countless ghostly shadows approached Jiyu Fei silently. At this moment, the savage ghost lord no longer had the leisure to care about Batian Shen King. Jiyu Fei was a greater threat to him than Batian Shen King. Jiyu Fei let out a cold snort. After that, his body burst out with immeasurable immortal light. The surrounding ghostly aura was shone by the immortal light and turned into green smoke that dissipated into the void. The ghostly shadows disappeared without a sound. Bang! Jiyu Fei punched out, and the entire void was torn apart by his fist force. He took a step forward and killed the savage ghost lord who was hiding in the dark. Preposterous! The savage ghost lord's expression changed. His opponent's combat strength was too strong, and his inner heaven and earth power was unable to suppress him. His opponent could easily tear apart his inner heaven and earth and kill his way out. Bang! The void trembled, and a ghostly shadow fell out from the void. With a single punch, the savage ghost lord, who was hiding in the void, was knocked out by Jiyu Fei's punch. His quasi-sage ghostly body was nearly shattered. A pair of oily green eyes emitted a heart-chilling green light as it glanced at Jiyu Fei. At this moment, the savage ghost lord was still wearing the crown on his head and the black dragon robe. He looked just like the legendary emperor of the underworld. However, this ghost Dao supreme being was unable to remain calm when facing Jiyu Fei. More good novels. Download ~please go ~. Target =_blank